Welcome to Skull Island. Share this out.
Yes.
Everybody that's out there, hit that button, hit the bell, hit the like, hit the bell. Make sure you subscribe and send this out to everybody on the planet. Welcome to another edition. I'm not even sure what week we are. What are we, 8 now? 7, 8? Something like that? 9? What episode are we on?
7.
Episode 7. Yeah. Skull Island PirateCast. Welcome. I'm here with
7 is a good number.
I'm here with Miguel, Michael, Pena, Norma. And how do you say? I always get your last name wrong. How do you say it?
Rasmussen.
Norma. Wait, say it again?
Rasmussen.
Yeah.
See, I always say that wrong. Rasmussen. I always say that wrong. I don't know why.
A lot of people do the Rasmussen, and maybe that's technically what it is. But I mean, my dad always said Rasmussen.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and you know what? When it comes to family names, you ask the people. It's like where you go to a place, you ask them what the name of the place is. They'll tell you, and that's the right name because they named it. So if your people say Rasmussen, it's Rasmussen, not Rasmussen, but Rasmussen.
That's right.
Right. Yeah. And then you'll have family members who will say it as Rasmussen. That's like mine with the O'Rourke's, right? I have O'Rourke's and then I have Rourke's. They took the O off and they're Rourke's, but they're O'Rourke's, right? But they're the same family. They just dropped the O and the apostrophe, right? Yeah. My sister today asked me, why is it
I know how to pronounce it because there was a guy in my class when I was like, I don't know, 4th grade. He used to sniff eraser shavings or eraser, he'd crutch it all up and snort it. And his name, I'm not going to say his name, but yeah.
You had good friends, didn't you? Oh, well, okay.
No, he wasn't. I mean, he's just a guy I went to school with.
All right, there we go.
I wish I could remember all the people.
That reminded me of my head. The dude that used to sniff
eraser. Snort erasers up my nose.
Yeah.
But what's with them? I mean, why?
I don't know.
I actually went to classes where there was more than one Rasmussen. So
I mean, when I was a teenager, my brother snorted took the pot pipe with the pot in it while it was hot and went and snorted that up his nose. But I get that.
Oh, God.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't get that. That's just completely stupid and a waste of everything. I
was 16. He was 15. It was dumb. It was stupid. We laughed our ass off. I mean, he burnt the nose hair, and all he could smell is burnt hair the rest of the day. But he was high as fuck.
Well, he was beforehand. It wasn't, bringing that up. He already was. That's why he
already
did this.
was. That's why he did it. It was because he already was. He once got in a fist fight with a buddy of ours over one Ritz cracker. They were both high. And it was the last Ritz cracker, and it was my brother's. And he had it, and my buddy Jeff goes, shoop, took it from him, went, that's the last Ritz cracker, isn't it? And he goes, crunch, 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 starts eating it. My brother says, bang! They were rolling on the floor fighting over a Ritz cracker.
Well, see, that's useless. But Leo, that's useless because he already ate it. Now it's vengeance.
He already ate it. That's what I told my brother.
No, I would have popped him in the face the second he ripped it out of my hand. It's the last one, bitch. No. Boom, that's mine.
My brother hesitated, and he put it in his mouth like it was already over, and he's like, I'm still kicking his ass over it.
Yeah, exactly. Because at that point, there's what are you going to gain from that? But
right.
But hey, that's the difference between the Jedi and the Sith, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Aaron? Right.
That's right, man.
That was your title for today.
I don't know.
I'm not used to wearing T-shirts on these shows, so
right. Anyway. Yeah, that's the title.
I'm thinking about getting like more stylish T-shirts. Like they have some really cool, like just T-shirts, right? Like just cool designs on them. Just because I want to make it look, prettier for the eyes when you watch this.
Get some tie.
I mean, not
we can always do like Luke Rudinkowski, and we can wear our own merch. Buy our shirts on our channel.
You know what? I'm creating that right now. So yes, T-shirts.
Well, see, the thing is, what you don't understand is that Star Wars changed not just movie history and movie making history. George Lucas created the merchandising that made movies the big money fucking grabbers that they became.
Yep.
Because it was George Lucas who started pushing, we're going to put, this cup is going to be sold at McDonald's and this other toy is going to be sold at this other place, and we're going to get an entire line of. Nobody had done figurines for.
Disney was right there
did
behind
they have figurines for Star Trek? No.
Yeah.
But they had all the merch for Star Wars.
And do you know who made a point to point that out? Mel Brooks, the comedian, when he did Spaceballs.
Spaceballs was obvious.
He did yogurt, and he said, and then you know what we're going to do? Merchandising. That's where the money is. Merchandising. And then he opens up the back, like a curtain number 2, and there's everything, and it's all Spaceballs, everything, including the toilet paper with a dark helmet on the toilet paper. You can wipe the butt with his face. Merchandising. That's where the money's made. Merchandising.
Yep.
And he was right. Absolutely. 100%. Yep, that's where all the money was made, not in the box office.
But see, the thing was, it wasn't necessarily yes, for him it was a money making thing. But why did I do? I mean, I've got to be honest with you, I have the entire collection of the first movie of Star Wars 4, all the little figures and action figures, because they weren't dolls anymore; they were fucking action figures, and they had
that way guys could have them. They weren't dolls.
Guns and that sort of shit. It's
action figures, not dolls, but action figures. Yeah.
But I had about 3/4 of the second movie and about 30% from the third movie. Why? Because I got them. I was excited about seeing them. Something that I wanted to see was available. Somebody thought about what I liked.
Yeah.
Because before, when I would get Legos and I'd play with the little blocks and I'd make the Millennium Falcon out of little pieces. I mean, it was square and it was blocky, but I could tell that it was like the Millennium Falcon. And so when Lego actually started producing Star Wars, I fucking went nuts. My kids didn't care. They enjoy them and everything else, but they're basically in the closet the majority of the time. I bought those Star Wars Legos because I wanted to play with them.
Yep.
I had always wanted to play with them my entire life. So
Star Wars played a big part in all of our lives, in our generation especially, because I remember
they did
one of the biggest theaters I went to, and it was like the premiere of Empire Strikes Back, and it was fucking packed in Utah. You don't usually see that. It looked like Hollywood, when they have a premiere or whatever. I mean, there was people in lines waiting for it. And it always, that first series especially, they brought it. You got your money's worth. You got a lot more than your money's worth, because it really had a good, solid story. I think that they've been able to tell stories from that Star Wars series. Right. They've been able to tell a lot of other stories. It sparked a lot of other creativity. But sometimes it gets a little sterilized and
but
political.
It's just
why are we,
repeating the same movie over and over again?
Well, now they're doing the Boba Fett story. You see that?
But
they got the Boba Fett story starting now. And they got the actor who played Boba Fett.
These guys have no fucking that's what I was reading about. Yeah, the Boba Fett stories are going to include Wookiee mercenaries.
Yeah.
So
why wouldn't they? Yeah.
Right. Well, actually, you look like Chewie, but anyway, that's a whole other story. I was just laughing at James.
You know how they speaking of that?
I hope I was better looking than Harry Face fucking Chewie.
Do you guys know how the Ewoks were invented?
Yeah, because supposedly the final battle was supposed to be against the Wookiees. However, after they showed that Chewbacca was a skilled pilot, a skilled mechanic, and he was a good shot, and he was calm and everything else, it would have been too much of a disadvantage. So they had to create these little fucking toys.
Well, look at the name.
It was good merchandising because they got all kinds of series. They
look at the name. Ewok is an anagram for Wookiee.
Oh. Okay.
Think about that.
See, I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah, they just changed the letters. They took the same letters and they put them around. Ewok, Wookiee. Yeah, see, that's me. That's the way my brain works. So they just changed the name slightly, made it Ewok, which is Little Wookiee.
One question: what villains? Okay, what books is he talking about? Because everything started.
That's why I put it up there. That's kind of controversial.
What are you talking about? Star Wars books? Is that what you're saying?
See, I've read about 40 different Star Wars books, post-universe, and everything else before Disney bought their shit out.
I know we're dealing with them right now, Bill Gates.
Lucas wrote
Cool.
episode 1 through the books were out for episode 1, 2. But the movie got released with episode 4, A New Hope, right? So that was episode 4. He wrote episode 1, 2, 3, 4, and then had guys write 5 and 6, right? All of that was in there already. They already right after that they published the 3 books that became the Solo story, which was only 1 movie, but there was 3 books that were involved with Solo, and that happened at the same time as A New Hope was happening, just prior to that, and then during New Hope, like that's where Rogue Squadron happened when the Bothan spies died to get the schematics. That was in Star Wars. A New Hope, those were the people who died to get the schematics so Luke could go and blow that up. That was Rogue Squadron, which became an offshoot movie later on. Okay. At the same time that was happening, before Luke met Han Solo at Mos Eisley, he landed there after he did the shit he did when they got the Falcon and jettisoned the emergency section of it. Got rid of that. They had to use that once to jettison cargo. That's in the books. But they show up there and they're sitting there and they're trying to figure out how to get back to get money to Boba Fett, and he ends up getting the money because he's going to use those guys, the money he's getting from them, to pay Boba Fett, right? So that's how he gets involved.
I just wanted to address what's on this because it's bugging me in the back of my head. Yeah, he's talking about Star Wars comics. There's Dark Horse Comics actually made that when I was in college. I had the entire collection. It's in Mexico somewhere. Nice. Read them all, and yes, they have some really good ones. But I'm talking about the post books that they did before Disney bought them and everything else, to where Han Solo and Leia get married. Right. You've got Jason, Jaina, and Ben. Actually, Ben was an invention of the movies now of Walt Disney, because originally in the book series he was Anakin because he was named after his grandfather.
Yes, and Snoke. And Snoke was invented then in the stories, in the books, and Snoke got a hold of Anakin when they were doing the Jedi school. And that's how they ended up. He was chasing Leia around when Leia left. This was in the books that were after the Star Wars movies, before Disney got a hold in the books that they were released. Right. That was the storyline where they started the Jedi school that they refer to in the movie, but he was named after Anakin. You're right. And so they changed that to Ben, and I'm not sure where.
I read they also did a series on Luke Skywalker students, which Jaina and Jason were part of that. And so they had this entire book series of stories of how they brought in Jedi from around the galaxy and everything else to come train there again. So you had Wookiees and you had Twi'leks, and then you had all those training in the middle of those books. It doesn't have the same depth or everything else. You can tell.
I think that's why they changed it.
I mean, what George Lucas created in the beginning was just phenomenal.
Agreed. Agreed. Right. A phenomenal ideology.
And for all intents and purposes, none of this is real. This is all fucking hypothetical. So any idea is as good as another one, because after all, it's just a fucking fictional movie. But just like Matrix, there's a lot of depth in fiction.
Yeah.
And Ariel, I love Jar Jar Binks too. Ariel said, "Sorry if I lose cool points, but I like Jar Jar Binks.
I saw that.
Oh, you know, Tinkin, you so smarty. Love the Gungan.
The Gungan are nice. However, if I were a Jedi, I would be more of a Sith, and I would have pushed them all over, going, fuck off. Jar Jar had a tendency of screwing things up, and he was. And I personally thought it was kind of racist.
I do not necessarily want him on my team.
Well,
I'm picking teams.
Yeah, well, see, they were also trying to get other demographics and everything else, because yes, Jar Jar was funny. Yes, he got his tongue stuck in the motor, right? Yeah. And so everybody loves to laugh at that one. He'd look around and his ears would flop and hit him in the face. He was the comedy.
He walked like Shaggy. Yep. He walked exactly like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. That was Shaggy Stride.
I hadn't noticed that. You're absolutely right.
They used Shaggy's gait, so he was Shaggy. He was Shaggy, right? And then 3PO becomes, or R2 becomes Scooby-Doo, right? So they just interjected that, but he moves like Shaggy. He was kind of like Shaggy, but he was kind of smart, and and he bumbled into things, and that's how like
I hadn't noticed that at all. So good catch. I hadn't even made the association between Shaggy and Jar Jar. But yeah, and
I
he
didn't
was.
either, dude.
This is what I do, bro. This is what my little pea brain does with everything.
See, one of the things about Jar Jar, without Jar Jar, you wouldn't have half of the things that happened in the movie, because you have to have Jar Jar actually being expelled from his group to be able to bring people back to the group in order for the alliance to happen.
Right.
So all those things, and he had to be.
That was the beauty, bro, that goes back to what you were saying of Lucas, the way he wrote it. Because if you look at everything from the perspective of the Jedi, of the Force, everything in every single movie happens for a reason, because the Force navigated it so.
Yep.
And that is a real thing.
That's reality.
That's reality. That's the purpose of the story. That's the rub, as Mike would say. That's the purpose of the story, for people to get a moral. Is to get that the Force is the force of the universe, of good energy in the universe that is supposed to come from the creation. So that's why anybody who is good gets to use the Force, because they become the hero character, which is the Jesus character, which is the savior. And everyone has to take and play their little bitty part, because they can't be the savior, because there's only one Jesus. But we can all do our own little part, even the simplest
everybody can use
like
the
Jar Jar
Force.
Binks and the Gungan. And
everybody can use the Force. That's the title. It's the Jedi and the Sith. Because the thing is, the Sith have so much power, because they can do so many things, because they lie and they manipulate and they kill and they destroy. However, one of the symbols of that power we see in the Emperor himself. Whenever the Emperor was fighting against Mace Windu, after he had killed every other Jedi, Mace had his lightsaber, and he was defending against that dark force. And what did we see of the Emperor? His body started to wither away, because that is the cost of going to the dark side. Because the resonance of that negative energy will destroy you from the inside, will make you older, will wear you down. And that's where I get, the chi and everything else. You resonate bad, you're going to be dying, because you're killing yourself. It's a poison to the resonance of your body.
That's the whole moral purpose.
What they call it in Christianity is the Holy Spirit, right? Is that what they call it in Christianity? I believe the Holy Spirit would be the Force in.
No. It would be more faith. I think it would be more the universal energy. Like the scientists are believing that what we call gravity is the Force.
No.
Yeah, no, scientists are saying that now. They're saying that now.
But they don't know. Yeah.
They're saying that gravity is coherent. Gravity is coherent. Gravity is the 3, 6, and 9 energy. It's coherent. Everything is coherent. There is nothing that is inert. Even what we think is inert has a vibration, and it's coherent.
I agree.
So gravity itself, the one thing that binds everything together, is the force of gravity. The force of gravity binds everything together. There is nothing that's not touched by it. Even in space, in the openness of space, you still have planetary bodies. Their gravitational pull is still affecting each other. The scientists
that doesn't necessarily, because how am I going to affect gravity by thoughts or interaction with the waves themselves? See, gravity will be something that's generated by the Force, which would be
your mind interacts with all of it.
No, here, let me explain that. It has to do with 3, 6, and 9. Let me explain that to you.
All right. Actually, so we're getting into more vortex math again. All right, cool.
Yes, it is. It is simple, but it's because of, it's like the quantum weirdness, right? You get the quantum weirdness effect. Okay, the planet that we're on is not spinning because the core of it is some metal and that it's conducting energy. That's not the case. It's not happening. Eventually, they'll find that out when they get to the core. It's not. Okay, it just is not. The gravitational pull of this planet is due 100% to because of the life force living on it and in it and of it.
Right.
The planet itself is alive.
The electromagnetic force.
And it was created. The planet was created by someone. It was either a person, a people, or a god, or an entity. It was created. And to create, you have to use love.
Other higher set of beings.
Love is the energy that you put into something when you create it. You know when someone builds something and they make it by hand, you don't know that, but you look at it, you pick it up. You, for some reason, can perceive this is really good quality. Somebody spent a lot of time and love making this. Somehow you can sense that and feel that. And then when you pick up something that was run off an assembly line, it's dead to you. There is no force in it. There's no life force in it. This was run off an assembly line, and it's just sitting. It has no purpose except for the one that we designed it for. And this was designed well, but this is not something that I would put on a shelf and say it was well crafted by someone who spent a lot of time on it. This was built on a fucking machine. Okay. So when you run into those things, you know the difference. And the reason for that is there was intention and there was energy placed into that, and that energy resonates in there. So we being here, holding this reality in place, it is our thoughts, it is our intention and our belief in this place, which is the conceptual reality, that the concept of this planet, it being here, it moving, it running, and an ecosystem living on it, in it, and above it and below it, is working. We believe in that. Everything that's here is holding that here. We hold the reality and it becomes so. So the planet is here, moving through space, and as we expand our consciousness to space and understand space, we are able to affect that space. Why? We can fly to the moon and we can build shit on the moon now. So the moon, as the gravitational force of the moon is a lot less dense than the gravitational planet of the Earth. Why? Oh, well, because the Earth is generating electricity, but the moon, well, if the moon just has a smaller atom in it that might be conductive. No, there's less people on it and there's less attention to it. It's there because people see it every day. 24 hours a day, somebody sees the moon because it's out 24 hours a day somewhere on this planet. So people see the moon. It's anchored there in space because we're keeping it there. This is the leap that people have a hard time adjusting to, is that and you can read this in the Gnostic Gospels and in the, I think we talked about the Mesopotamian Gospels. Aaron, you and I talked about that with Norma about 2 months ago, and it's in there. So you'll find in the creation stories that they took out that actually says the human race, when we were originally created, we were created with an incorruptible power. And that power is the power of creation. We know that now, scientifically know that now. So we create the reality that happens on this planet. So when they ask the proverbial question in philosophic thought, does a tree fall in the woods if there's no one there to observe it, observe or created reality? Aristotle replied with no, because there is no forest and there is no tree. So there can't be. Which brings
me to a point of everything I was just talking about. Yeah, I was just talking about earlier when Mike, can't remember exactly what he was saying. We hold everything up. Like our perception of things really does hold everything together. Y'all have done it.
All right, now Einstein had this exact conversation with Niels Bohr. All right.
So that's a good way to see it, but that's the way I saw it. But really, I didn't truly believe it or have faith in it until I actually saw it. I actually experienced looking at my phone and all the numbers falling off. And then eventually the phone fell apart. And it was kind of for me and the work I do, I'm a psychic, right? I'm a psychic medium. So I'm always kind of entering that mental state and going into different places. For me, it was kind of a confirmation that everything is held up by our projection, by the way we see it. Yes, we have a collective. We all work together to build things, the things we see around us. But really, we are holding these things up. We are holding this reality up, which is so cool about this. It's like we're in a holodeck, but we can feel and we can die. And the
Sorry, new man. iPhone is really the great new iPhone if we all believe it's the great new iPhone. If we're all carrying around. No,
that's all right. I was listening. I was just the conversation that Einstein had with Bohr is that one of the ideas was, everything is a construct of our mentality. And so Einstein said, so when I stop concentrating on the moon, I stop concentrating or thinking about it, then it doesn't exist anymore, but it's still there. Everybody else sees it.
Well, because
it affects things that we can see physically. It has the physical effects on the reality. The thing is that we individually don't do it. But the construct, and what happens is that, like Carl keeps saying on my channel, it's the vortex that's creating it, because the moon is held there by the vortex as well, because it's just like the electrons on their orbits around the nucleus, the electron isn't this little particle that's flying around at the speed of light. It's this cloud of probability that the majority of it is in one place or another. That's why you know how fast it's going, but not its location, or its location and not the speed. Because if you know the location, you break down the wave function, you say the majority of it is here.
Yes.
But we don't know how fast the rest of it.
So you can't look at a thing without changing where that thing is, and you can't track a thing without looking at the thing.
Because any interaction is going to add energy to that, and it's going to change the levels.
Changed it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Because the things you look at when you look
into it. So to look at something, if it's going in front of you, to capture that in a spot, to capture that in the spot, to see it, you have to give it energy. You have to illuminate it somehow. That transfers energy, and then it changes the direction and the composition of what it was. Yes,
more than any of us really understand, and scientists as well.
Right.
Like, I don't care. The best scientists may have a little grasp on it, and I have a littler grasp on it. But really, I feel like there's so much that to bring into that dimension that we all talk about, that ascension, right? That usually you have to die to get to. No, you don't. I feel like we are in a weird place in the world right now where we do ascend. I mean, I've actually seen weird.
We're in the middle of transition, Aaron. That's why this is the section to where all of humanity has to choose.
Right.
And actually, humanity has chosen. We just have to go through the motions of what humanity already chose. Because the battle was done, according to the Mayan. And this
we're reaping what we've sowed. That's for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, one of the things that Jacob liked about me is that I used to talk about the Mayan calendar. And yes, one ended in 2012, but there was a transition period, 2012 to 2019, to where humanity had to choose which one of the big wheels it was going to go on. All right, so I'm hoping 2020 was the beginning of that next big wheel. So I'm hoping humanity chose well. Because at this point, we're just playing out what humanity already chose and the adjustments to the next new big wheel.
Yeah. Well, there's still so many people still struggling
because we
with
can't
that
do nothing about it.
You know?
Been done.
It's
which is the age of Aquarius.
But we are doing something about it right now. Oh, Leonard's frozen, but we are doing something about it right now. Us just talking here is changing things. Yeah. That ripple effect is real. It does ripple out. And yes, we do.
Well,
create.
For example, one of the posts that I put on Facebook, what was the most popular podcast in the history? I mean, actually, the most viewed broadcast was Joe Rogan. I mean, he blew everybody else, CNN, all the individuals, all the other networks. All of them together didn't equal the visualizations of Joe Rogan and Dr. Malone. And that tells us that old paradigm is gone. People know, they're waking up, they're paying attention,
over the course
and this
of
shit
the
ain't gonna
last
go no more.
4 or 5 years. Mm-hmm. But it's still there. And a lot of that fear and a lot of that, like, really trying to convince yourself, my God, I was fucking duped. No,
the illusion of reality.
Like, really trying to get your mind on
a
that
different
wavelength
reality so we can all see a different reality,
and change
the world.
It's going to be hard. It's still a long road. And that's why we have that process, that time span where so many of us are going, oh my God, is this really going to even happen? Like, are people going to wake up? Oh my gosh, what's going on? Well, because everyone, and really it takes so much to be able to change a process that you deeply felt, right? I was born in a religion that today I do not believe a word of. I can actually look at certain aspects and kind of laugh and wonder how the fuck did I even believe that thing? But it took a process to understand. I believed this. I mean, I believed it. This is what I was raised with. This is what I was going through. This was my belief system for a really long time. Thankfully, I do have a sense of humor. So I do have that humor where I can break it up and go, okay, you know what? This is kind of ridiculous, isn't it, Norma? Wow. What made you believe that in the first place? I know how to kind of bring myself out in humor. A lot of people are deep. A lot of people, especially with their faith, their belief systems are holding really deeply in their heart. And to change their mind and to totally reconstruct that belief system is going to be extremely fucking difficult.
The problem, Norma, is that, for example, you're questioning your own thought process, saying, why did I believe that? I was so stupid. I didn't know because I know better now. But what you're doing is you're calling your past self actually stupid, and you're not. And the thing
Yeah,
is,
none
that
of
in
it
every,
was
and that's true, I guess,
every
in a
single
sense.
time,
maybe.
every single time that you make a decision, it is for a reason, and it's for a
Yes.
cognitive reason.
And I
And
believe that
subconsciously
wholly
and
too.
everything else, you
Yes.
actually know exactly why you make the decisions that you make. Whether or not we
Yes.
want to accept them or we realize them or we perceive them is another notion. But every single
Yes.
decision we make that throughout our lives is a result
Mhm.
of what we inherently believed to be to our
Yes.
best, or preferably to others' best. But like
In
Jacob was
there,
talking
Which is
about,
Mike,
probably why I say I
greed
can use that
rules.
humor a little
Greed is
in
about
there
me,
is
me,
the
me,
rub.
me, and everybody else, fuck it. And that is what's destroying.
Yeah.
Greed destroyed communism. Why? Because it doesn't work when somebody wants to be better than somebody else, and somebody
Right.
always is. Because that is the law of the
Right.
jungle. And until we get
'Cause I
out
don't
of the
care how
law of the
good you are,
jungle,
there's always someone better.
those
Right.
lower levels of the Maslow pyramid, until we get higher in our
Mhm.
understanding of our interaction with reality itself,
Right.
we're going to be
Mhm.
fighting that greed. And so what we need to do is find a way to get, they're going to do what they're going to do. They want to take over the world, run
Yeah.
the world, and run the world
Yes.
into the ground.
We gotta
Fucking
do our
let
best
them.
to just not let them take us.
Fucking
Right?
let them. But don't let them take you
Yeah.
with them, which is why I've
That's
got
right.
my project for the sustainable housing and everything else. So, the system can take over everybody else, and everybody else will say, well, I can't do this or that if I don't. Well, I've got my own stuff, so I don't depend on. Is life easier?
Right.
No.
All right, Mike, you
Do I
can't
have
fucking
as many
just say
things? Fuck
the
no.
the sustainable housing and blah, and then just run right past that. What is your sustainable housing project? Come on, talk about it. What is it?
Well, it's Leo and I have talked about it for many episodes as well.
I've outlined it in my book, guys. If you look at my book, How to Get Out of Debt, I'm sorry, that's the other half of it. It's
Download a picture.
prepping.
Leo's got too many books to remember which one he was referencing when he told me
Right,
about the fish
prepping
pond
/ survival
and
for
the chicken
beginners.
coop.
Hold on.
And because I started off, I wanted a greenhouse, and I had read about some things about the fish pond and everything else, but I didn't know exactly which ones to use and that sort of thing. But I knew that it worked. I've always been into solar prepping survival for beginners. Where can we find that, Leonard?
That you can find that online. You can go anywhere online. It's on.
Yes.
You could get it on Kindle if you want for like $3, $4 on Kindle.
Well, you're gonna have to.
The way it works is
put
this.
that link in the description below.
This is how it works, guys. I'll do it quickly. But first, let me address this. The whole everything that you were saying is absolutely true in that. But the problem that we have is they understand that, so they hijack your attention and they keep your attention focused on everything except for taking care of yourself. So it's not your fault, Norma. That's what Mike was getting at. It's not your fault. You don't want to look at yourself in the past, down yourself because you were tricked. It wasn't your fault. Okay. So going off the grid now. Let me go to the going off the grid part. I was doing this in Arizona. I can't do it here in California where I'm at because I'm in an apartment. But if you have a place, you have a house, you have a yard, whatever, you can do these things. And what we did was my buddy Paul actually did this in his backyard, and I was starting in my backyard in Arizona. If you set up a small ecosystem, you need certain sustainable sources. You need water, palatable water. You need food, right? You need housing. You need shelter. You need heat in the wintertime and cold air in the summer. So you're going to need electricity, right? So to go off the grid completely, you can do this in a modern neighborhood as long as you have a backyard that's bigger than 5 feet by 10 feet. What we did was, and I got this from the Filipinos, believe it or not. We're doing this in the Philippines, and that information ended up making its way to me as a prepper, and I learned this from the people over in the Philippines. So what they did was they would dig a hole in the ground and make a makeshift pool by lining it with plastic. Now you have a pool. Fill it up full of water and get something to filter the water, and they would grow fish tilapia in there because the tilapia fish breed every 42 days, so they breed like rabbits. So you have a food source. You have to outsource and give food away or trade it away. They'll breed so much if you get enough of them. So what you do is you set up, this is what we did in the modern era. If you have a swimming pool in your backyard, drain it and use it. Okay, you drain it part way, but not all the way, so that you can still run the pumps and stuff like that. And you put fish in there, tilapia if you can get it. This far north, you can't do it, but you can use trout, freshwater trout here in California, this far north. But if you're south where Mike lives, he can use tilapia. So you grow the tilapia, and then you take what's called duckweed, and it's a little teeny green leafy plant. It's the smallest green leafy plant
Duckweed, yeah.
on the face of the earth. It's illegal. It's illegal in the United States because if it gets on a lake, it'll grow across the entire top of the lake, which changes the chemistry of the lake. It doesn't allow the sun rays to get in there, and the lake can't reach equilibrium. So they don't want that. But if you contain it and you can grow it, then what we did there in Arizona was we built a chicken coop above the water out of chicken wire, so when the chickens would poop, the poop would fall into the water. And the tilapia, you can do this with catfish because they're bottom feeders. They'll eat they'll eat all the poop. So the chickens poop into the water. The poop feeds the fish. You filter the water by pulling the water and the gunk out of the water with pumps, and you build a trough that is at a 1% grade, and you put different stages of filtration in that with sand and rock and dirt.
No. Hold on. Leo, what you got to do is all that fecal matter in the bottom of the lake. And I wouldn't line it with plastic because plastic can wear out and everything else. There's this fantastic new product that I used on my roof, Rebotec. I mean, I'm going to do something that I got to integrate.
Right, I was going to say
it makes the concrete itself water resistant.
That's why
what happens is that I want to take all that fecal matter and put it into a greenhouse to where I'm using that as fertilizer to be able to feed my tomatoes, my cucumbers, my potatoes.
Right now?
Yes, because then all that stuff gets into the food source.
And you're using the fertilizer from the fish and the chickens and the rabbits.
And then you put the clean water, you take the clean water and you put that into a bucket to be used and recycle it back into the pool.
Well, that's another part because I'm also collecting the rainwater, and that rainwater I'm filtering, like you said, through the sand, through gravel, and then through charcoal in order to ionize it, and the charcoal absorbs most of the bad stuff. Then I'm running it through, actually it goes into the first tank. From that first tank, it goes to water fountains that will oxygenate the water. After the oxygenization, they'll go through a magnet, which will ionize it even more and magnetize the water, and then it goes into the storage tanks.
Yeah.
What?
It'll also make it easier for the fish to breathe once you reoxygenate.
That's for actual human use. I'm going to making that so that you can take the rainwater and drink it and it not be harmful in any way because I'm going through all the process. Because I said, okay, rainwater filter, it'll be fine. Oh, no, but it's got this and that and that.
Yeah, so
you got it. The past 4 or 5 years, I've been studying oxygenization is one of them, which is why I created the fountains. I learned that in San Antonio. And the fact of using the magnets in order to really magnetize the water, that was something that was an idea that was given to me about 3 weeks ago. So everything continues evolving to make it better. But the objective is rain is here, especially where I'm at, and you can collect it. And if you can use it for drinkable source, that can help you not depend on a fucking system that is putting fluoride and chlorine in your bullshit.
Yeah. That's what when I was in Arizona, I learned a lot about it because they take the only water that they get in Arizona that they use is from the monsoon rain. So they had to recollect every bit of water that falls from the sky and redirect it and purify it and oxygenate it. So while I was in Arizona, I was like, how are you guys doing this here? And I learned all that, just like Mike was learning about that. I learned all that ecoponics, right? And so when you add that in, so you make the water palatable for yourself, right? You also generate it and you oxygenate it. So the fish now they have really nice, good oxygenated air to breathe out of the water. And because you've ionized it, it also feels good for them, right? Because you've used the magnets on it.
They'll be bigger and fatter, and you'll have better fish to eat.
More fish to eat.
Yeah, everybody's happy. The people who are wanting to be vegan and everything else. Fish is great. You can actually be, vegan fish. Everybody fishes. And if you've got lettuce and cabbage and everything else and tomatoes and whatever that you're growing, it's a salad and it's a meal. Can it get repetitive?
Right.
Yeah, but you can survive.
You have spice it up, right? I can cook chicken. I can cook it 365 days out of the year and cook it different every single day. Because you have a different spice,
my chicken tastes the same. I've got 5 recipes and I just recycle through them. Everything's got to have oregano and everything's got to have paprika.
Right, you have to have all the spices.
Garlic, salt, and onions must be for absolutely everything.
Pepper, garlic, or salt, pepper, garlic, onion. Those are
Ariel, I got to ask you this question. Hold on, I got to respond to this before I go have a cigarette. Normal with the helm, at the helm of at least our house. Okay, or our studio. She said, "Smells like fish. Eat a dish. If it smells like fish, I ain't going
Smells
there.
like fish.
Smells like chicken. I'll be licking."
I used to not be able to eat fish because of the smell of fish. I couldn't eat any fish, right?
I
And
love the
because of
smell
that.
of
I
fish,
know
but
what you're talking about. You're talking proverbially. If it smells like fish, I ain't going there either.
I mean, really, we can't.
Just
Yeah,
proverbial.
yeah. I love the smell of fish.
I prefer a tossed salad. But you know what that means in prison, Ariel?
I love salmon.
What the fuck does it mean in prison, Leo?
I don't want to eat
A tossed salad is when someone tosses your salad in prison. That's when they screw you in the ass. They toss your salad.
Oh fuck!
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
So if you're ever in jail, somebody says, "Hey, do you want a tossed salad?"
I know that shit.
Yeah. If you ever go to jail, someone asks you, "Do you want a tossed salad?" You say no.
That's right.
No, I don't eat salad. I'm a carnivore. I just
I don't
meat.
eat salad. I don't eat fruits. I don't eat salad.
I definitely don't eat fruits. Definitely not. No fruits for me. Thank you very much.
Right.
Moving on.
Originally, it comes from like an assortment. A salad that's what she said. A salad's an assortment of things, But in prison, it means one thing. It means buggering.
Yeah, but I'm sure. I mean, oh God, I'm sure that's not what they're fucking talking about. We're talking about salads and hydroponics and
but
all kinds of
Aaron was
leafy
being
vegetables.
ambiguous talking about
we
if it
had
smells
to
like
go,
fish.
perverted just a little, right?
True.
Just kidding.
Aaron was being ambiguous when he said, "If it smells like fish, I'm not going to eat it."
Well,
he was
true,
talking
you're
about
right.
Not
You're right.
if it's
The
red
whole-
lobster
the
or
whole-
from the sea, bro.
the whole thing went in that direction. All right. But-
Yeah, that's where he was being ambiguous. So I followed with it. So when I heard
Yeah.
when she said, "I want to have a tossed salad," I'm like, a tossed salad in prison is buggering. They're going to toss your salad for you.
All right. So, all right. Thanks, Leo. Appreciate you for the info. That's good to know.
Apparently, tossing your salad can be quite
no fruits and no tossing salads. All right.
And you're right. Right. Tossing your salad could be kind of pleasurable depending on who you are, what you're about.
Right.
All right.
Okay. So
enjoy.
So now back to the off the grid. Now, and then if you get
Basically, what I was actually trying to say,
Moringa,
back to the off grid, actually.
If you get the Moringa oleifera tree, which they're trying to make illegal in the United States because that tree, they call that the chicken leg tree. They actually call it that because you can eat all parts of it. So some countries, like in the Philippines, they'll refer to it as the chicken tree because it's like there's everything in it. It has more potassium than a banana. It has more vitamin C than an orange. You can eat the leaves like a salad. You can turn them into a tea. You can peel off the bark. You can eat it. You can take the wood itself and you can eat the wood of the tree. There's no, even the roots. There's no part of the tree that you can't consume.
If there's no part that's not going to help, then that's like the aloe. I mean, there are parts that might give you diarrhea, but depending on what medicine you're trying to make and utilize and whatever, those. I think most plants really are kind of useful in some way, all parts, right?
Everything has everything. Even if you kill an animal and you skin it, everything still has a use. You can take all the guts and use that as fertilizer, right? You can still cook that stuff into a stew. Some countries do that with a placebo from a human birth. Eat it.
If someone's going to bury me someday,
too much information, Leo. Too much information.
Let me be fertilizer.
Going off the rails today, Leo. Come on, bring it back. Bring it back.
I'm just telling the truth. So everything has a purpose. You can take. I mean, here's a perfect example. You take you buy the turkey for Thanksgiving over here in America. You eat the turkey. Poor people take that turkey and the bones that are left over. And I've done it. You stick it in a pot.
Yeah, I'm making a broth.
And you put spices in with it. You boil the shit out of it until the bones become gummy, and you pull the bones out, and all the meat strips off of it. And you make turkey soup.
I actually cook my dog's food, so I use it for that stuff.
See,
I make their food myself.
Yeah. So everything, right? And that's smart because you don't have to worry about them getting cancer, right?
Yeah.
From the food. In fact, that phone call that I took when I froze was my phone ringing, and it was in fact the hospital that I took Patch to, and they were calling to let us know that it remains ready to be picked up. Which my wife was texting me. Well, at first, that's why I was like, Jesus, I had 2 phone calls and 3 texts. That's why I froze. So my wife's texting me from the state of Arizona, going, "Have you heard from the people with Patch? They should have called you." I'm going, "No, I have to call them, but I have a podcast. My sister's here. I'll do it afterwards." So then. And she texted me and says, "Can I call you after work?" And I said, "Yes, but I'm on the podcast." She said, "Don't worry, I have a headache. I'll call you tomorrow." Did you call those people? Just got off the phone with them. I'll give you the details tomorrow. And so then I got back on here with you guys. I literally was talking to the lady going, your ears must have been burning. I was talking about you. She says, everything's ready for you to pick up. I said, I'll be there tomorrow. I'll give you a call when I get there. So they'll bring everything out. They don't, everything's hands off here in the state of lockdown, socialist California.
Dude, even here in Utah, dude, when my dog passed a few months ago, I had to actually like go and drop her off and then like just hope and pray that I got the same dog back. Right. Like I can't, when she got stitches, she was bit by a husky. Oh, it sucks because she was so old. I mean, she got a really bad bite. I mean, she healed from that, was doing really good right before she quit. But I didn't get to be there for that either. So I'm like, just give you my elderly dog and say, I trust your fucking judgments. I'll sit out here and just, it's the state of today is really, it is bothersome. It is very bothersome. I mean, it's always been a little crooked and a little scary, but
to go back what Mike was saying and to reiterate what Mike was saying earlier about that is that Baktun 12 is ended and Baktun 13 it's supposed to start now. That's supposed to be the age of Aquarius. But here's the thing, and this is what Mike was alluding to, and we didn't get to go further down that road, and I wanted to, but I wanted to go quickly to the prepping thing and then come back to this. I made a mental note to do that because Mike was getting onto it and the choice that people need to make. Because people don't understand what's going on. What's going on is there is not a utopian place where there is no heaven where you would die and there's this place where there's pearly gates and heaven is a place, it's a state of mind of your soul. Heaven is where you are, wherever, if you are into that mindset. So people need to choose either the one path or the Sith, the path of the Jedi or the path of the Sith. It literally is that. I'm choosing good or evil. I'm choosing the path of righteousness and good, or I'm choosing evil. There is no in between, people. You can't go, well, I like to be neutral so I can keep my
and here's what I have to say about the neutral. Here's the thing about that, though.
You have to make a choice.
Neutral, you actually have to use light and you have to use the dark. You truly have to be balanced if you're going to be a neutral person. How many of you neutrals are fully and truly fucking balanced?
Right.
Because not everything in the dark is bad and not everything in the light is good. It's about knowing and utilizing and balancing it all in this lifetime.
Because energy just is energy, but you still have to choose. The base thing that you have to choose is either am I in service to others or am I in service to myself? That's it. The energy, people say, well, wait a minute. You're on one hand, like Norma just said, you're saying balance, but then on another hand, you're talking like Mike that you have to make a choice. Well, how can I make a choice and be balanced? Because they're not the same thing. They're not the same thing.
Right.
Making a choice of being a being that is in service to others or service to self doesn't mean that I can't have bad days. It doesn't mean that I can't get mad and angry and throw something. It doesn't mean that I'm going to be Jesus Christ now, because that's what I'm choosing. And that's not what anyone's trying to tell you to do or become. You can if you want. Jesus would really love it if you did. Because his life would have been a lot easier. My sister today literally said to me, why did Jesus die on the cross? And I said, because he wanted you to fucking know that what he was doing meant something. He meant it and believed it so wholeheartedly that he was willing to die for it. Volunteered to do that.
And I'm just a dramatic being. So even on my minuscule level, I get why you would have something so large. Yeah.
You're used to people running people down and killing them. If someone chased Jesus down and hung him, you'd go, that happens every day. If those guys did exactly what the Bible says, that Judas turned him in because he was evil and they came and got him, that's a plot of B613. We have those on television every day. You wouldn't see that as something that meant something. You'd go, well, of course he did that. That happened to my brother.
All the fucking time.
All the fucking time. But the fact that he fucking orchestrated it himself convinced Judas to go and tell those people, and don't worry, Judas, they're going to hate you now, but in the end, they're going to realize that you were risen above all of them because you were the only one that was so loyal to me that you did this for me. They all run. You don't. That's why. And so there is no proof that Judas hung himself or killed himself afterwards. That was told in one book, and they didn't even tell it in his own book.
And also in that story, you also have, not only did he not run, and Judas did because he felt guilty about what he did. Okay?
He still felt bad. He did it.
The 30 coins of silver were found at his feet. Okay. However, Jesus not only didn't run, whenever Peter pulled out his sword, he said, put that away. He healed the ear. In other words, hey, nothing wrong here. He didn't do anything. Forget about them. It's me you want.
It's me
I'm
you
the guy you want. take it out on me.
Yep.
Okay, and that's exactly what he was doing, because that's what he wants to do.
Yes.
Why? Because he needs to show us what we need to do to be the best us that we can be in this world.
Yep.
Why? Because it's not about us being the most powerful, because that's exactly what the Antichrist did. He wanted to be number one. He wanted to rule over the entire world. Yep. What did Jesus do? Whenever all his disciples were fighting about who was going to be the most remembered, who had done more miracles, who had blessed more people, who had done more things, Jesus put a cloth over a rag over his shoulder, grabbed the water basin, and started washing their feet. God, the creator of the fucking universe, sat down and washed their feet.
Right.
As an example for what it is for us to do.
That's right.
We're not
See,
here
and
to
even
rule.
from someone that doesn't
We're here to
entirely
help
believe that
others.
story, that's exactly the whole point, though. Being able to humble yourself and know that no matter who it is you're tending to, if they're coming at you in a certain way, they're simply not cleansed from their own thought process. They're buried in what Earth can give us called muck, right?
Right. The reality is got in their own way.
Certain somewhere that you're not. And all you can do for them is to love them, care for them, and nurture them in the best way you possibly can. And sometimes that does mean walking away, right? Just simply walking away. But it really is. Being in service to others is truly being in service to yourself, because you're taking the time to feel the energy, the moment, read the room, and you're responding it to the most balanced possible aspect you can, right? Knowing and understanding there's no real true like balance. It's never going to come out looking balanced. Okay. There's always an action reaction. There's always that cause and effect happening. But you want to take the most grounded, rooted, and logical. And I say that, but I'm like thinking spiritual, right? But it's that balance. It's understanding the world we're in right now, the way those that we are tending to see it, and lifting them in the way they need it. I'm a dramatic human being. It often does take someone being a real asshole or like, some dramatic thing for it to finally go, oh, hang on. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's understanding you're human, how you work, how you process, and then being able to take in all the information logically and faith is big. And I talk that all the time. It's more than just knowing it's going to happen and like believing it's going to happen because you're manifesting it. Truly, the faith is feeling it, knowing it, like feeling it, right? And don't get me, there's been plenty of times I felt were coming my way and they came about differently. And part of my human wants to go, oh, I'm just flooded. The true faith is actually understanding. No, but you're letting your human get involved still. Hang on. Just keep it going. You're on the right path, right? It's not getting too stuck in one space. It truly is that forward movement. I mean, also I'm a Sagittarius, Leo, right? I mean, I got a lot of so movement is kind of just my thing. I'll admit it. But when you can find the rhythm and the peace in that movement, right? And you know which way you're going. You're not trying to butt your way to this place. You're not trying to, you know what I mean? Understanding your movement, your fluidity, your energetic mark. Okay. However it comes across, which is why when you guys said I was like kind of talking shit on my old self, you're right in a sense, maybe, but not really. That's kind of how I've dealt with it, right? That humor, that, oh my gosh.
That's just reestablishing of habits. That's all that is your old habits, and that's we get locked into that, and that's part of their consciousness and the effort that they have to distract away from everything. And here's the biggest problem that we have, and Mike was on to it earlier, and I didn't really get to finish that. Mike was on to it earlier.
Come on, baby.
People don't realize that the most important thing to understand is that
my fault, Mike?
It's not
Probably,
good versus evil.
because we all left for a minute.
It's not good versus evil. There is not a battle between good and evil that will end. That doesn't end. That doesn't end. It can't. In this place, the way it works is there has to be good and evil. That is the way the universal mind has designed this universe in this reality. Right. And it's in all third dimensional reality.
In order to give out of your brain free choice to choose.
You have to get out of your brain the concept of we have to beat evil and stop evil, because you'll never stop it. It's designed.
No, you gotta stop being evil. That's the whole point.
That's the whole
it's not
point.
changing everybody else. See, this is the whole thing. The reason that we have the good bad paradigm that everybody, we need to unify and get rid of the paradigm. No, that means that everybody's evil because they're all dominated by somebody who wants to control. However, the paradigm is there for us to have free will. Why? Because the thing that God gave us whenever he created this entire holographic, quantum, multidimensional
I actually
multiverse.
want to kind of quote tinfoil hat in a minute.
Is free choice. And so anyone who wants to take away that choice and control you is exactly against the creator spirit. Now, why did he give us choice? Because he didn't want robots. He didn't want people going, oh, yes, sir, you're almighty, you're great. Oh, fuck this guy. Oh, you're great. Well, like we do in our jobs whenever our boss is chewing us out.
Right. We got our tongue up
because we depend on him for our paycheck.
Look at his ass.
It's not real. It's not sincere. It doesn't come from the heart. And that's not what God wants. God wants people to love him, to love doing what he told us to do that makes our lives better.
Not because they have to, but because they choose to.
Because they want to.
Yes.
Exactly.
They
it's
feel
that
it.
choice.
That's the
and
rhythm
when
in
you
which
take
they're
choice
waiting.
away from people, that is domination, that is evil, and that is what the controllers of this world are trying to do.
Yes.
Look, now in what was it, in Canada? Now you can't buy pot unless you get the Jabberwopper.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Did they go down that road?
Oh, yeah.
They did that today.
What by liquor either.
Yeah,
Well,
it's getting
New
bad.
York, right now, New York State is deliberating.
Fucking idiots. Sorry, Canadians.
I'm
not saying all Canadians are idiots. I'm just saying.
I'm gonna take a step outside
Well,
this time.
everywhere, bro.
But I want to leave with that little quote
They
from
can't
Tinfoil
defend
Hat.
themselves, so the
He
government
says
takes
that
over.
this is like the bottom layer of heaven and the top layer of hell.
No, the bottom.
Yes. And for some reason, I feel like that is truly a perfect way to describe in which the realm and the life and the world we're living in today. So that's what I'll leave you guys with.
Do you know how tangentials work in geometry, Norma? No, I wanted to ask Norma a question.
Go ahead. She's
Do you know how tangents works on a circle? You have a circle, and the tangent is that point where a line actually touches the circle. That is called a tangent.
Right.
And that within a line of time has a certain period of time to where that tangent, and you can calculate it in calculus and the size and everything else, can for us seem extremely long, but in reality, for the length of the line, it is just a small dot.
Like an eye.
But we see it as huge. This
hence going on a tangent.
Touching good and evil is temporary, and it is about to end.
Yes.
And soon that evil will be brought down, and that tangential line of good will continue on.
And we will be swinging way. Yes, you're right.
We're way out of balance right now. We've got a lot of evil, and I'm not going to say
we're actually right where we're supposed to be, because you can't have the dawn without the darkest point of the night. That's why they say the darkest is just before the dawn. So you can't have that dawn without the darkest point. So you have to have this chaos that's happening now for the collective consciousness of this planet to react and make a choice. And you're going to do it whether you like it or not, because you're either going to choose something or you're going to get the seminal point's going to take you. The crashing wave will change your mind for you. So you're either going to
nobody's going to be on the wall. Everybody's going to have to choose one side or another. And that is the thing.
If you don't, then you'll be removed from the equation. What happens is that you'll be filtered out. You'll go on with your equation, but your equation is going to be a negative, destructive, and utterly
what I feel like is going to happen in this split that we're talking about. Can I? I'm going to interject after.
Go ahead, Aaron. I'm muting. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Leo. Go ahead, and then I'll tell you. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, brother.
So here's what happens if when you're here, if the entire race, say today, made the choice, but there was 100,000 people who didn't choose, they would be the only people left here. They'd be the left behind until they die of whatever natural causes or whatever. And then when they wake up, they're going to wake up being born to a 3-dimensional planet somewhere else until they make the choice, because you have to make the choice before you can graduate on either side from here. You have to become evil to graduate on the evil side, or you have to become good. You can't stay in the middle and not make that choice. If you do, that's purgatory. You can stay there forever if you like, but you're never
Well,
going
that's
anywhere.
yes,
until you
and
make
I'm
the
going
choice.
to add to that, which is what I've seen, and I've done a lot of spiritual astral projecting and journeying because that's what I do. So I fucking get into it, and I don't understand most of it. Like I can only explain it the way I've seen it. But yes,
Right.
like everybody that's living in fear right now, if you're still living in fear when you die, you're going to be in that fear place. Like that's where you're going to put yourself. Like that's not nobody sits there, like you said earlier. Nobody sits there. St. Peter is not sitting at the fucking gate saying, okay, you get to go to hell, you get to come to heaven. No, you decide that. But
That's
in your heart,
but you
if
decide
made
that before you die, actually, to be honest.
Thinking, or you're lost in your fear, if you're lost and you think you might end up thinking you're not dead and just going on being a ghost. That's what they call
that's
it.
what they hope, right? That's what they hope.
Right. So,
that's
but
what
if you're actually aware and you because I think a lot of us we seeded ourselves into the planet, in this reality, so we could help. I mean, especially the people that are here watching, us that are here on the live stream talking, we're willing to enlighten each other and not be afraid to learn more. Go ahead, brother.
Are you on D Live today or not?
Go ahead, Mike.
Are you on D Live?
Yeah, we're on
today
D Live.
All right, cool.
Yep, we're on D Live.
Cool. So we're on Facebook, okay. We're on YouTube, we're on D Live. Rocking it, Aaron. Thank you very much.
Right.
You're welcome.
Definitely.
Thank you, man. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for joining me on
I've
this.
been getting
new journey.
We have to start making sure that we take turns talking because I got people saying you guys are doing a great job, but when you talk over each other, I can't hear shit. Please stop doing that.
No, I actually think we're doing great this time. I think we're doing better than we ever have. When you get pirates fucking talking and drinking,
if you have a problem with us talking over each other, listen to the first 3 podcasts, and you won't understand a fucking thing.
Yes. We're doing. You know what? As far as I'm concerned, we are streamlining this shit on this episode because
it's taking us a bit. We're getting used to it.
I don't even need my talking stick anymore.
I was thinking the same thing. I didn't have to grab my talking stick earlier. I was gonna.
At one point, I thought you could grab that thing. We're getting used to each other. Yeah.
We'll get there, guys. Ariel, go around the circle slowly.
So the Jedi versus the Sith. So what it all comes down to is, are you living your life in integrity? Are you living your life for, I'm not out to hurt people. I don't want to hurt anybody. Now, of course, there's going to be people that get their feelings hurt, especially with the younger generations. My God, I sound like my dad when I say that shit. But really,
you are
like,
you're probably the age your dad was.
So I am my dad's age now. Yes. But really, it really comes down to, am I being thoughtful and mindful of the people that are around me? And when I'm trying to bring something into fruition, is fuck else over here? Because right now, America, we stand strong, but our government is killing people all over the world. Our military is killing people all over the world for no good reason other than just to take their resources. Like, the evil pirates. We're not the evil pirates. I mean, at least we claim not to be. But that's what I'm talking about is people need to really get a better perspective of what the fuck is going on. Because what's going on, what we're all seeing right now, right in our face, is all bullshit. It's all propaganda, and it's all meant to even the Epstein shit, dude. Even the Epstein shit. Yep. It's still like there's so many of those things going on right now. That's just one that got busted and one they want to leave as a limited hangout. And it sucks. Yep. It sucks to be cynical like that, but I don't think it's cynical. I think it's about being.
It's about being real, bro. It's about being real
about things.
Yeah, it's realistic.
Gaining some information. Yeah.
Well, and
well, come on, Tammy. Tammy, do you want to come on? Tammy wants to come on. Tammy,
I got no problems with that. Bring
everybody's invited. If y'all want to join, come on in. I'm going to send you the link in the comments right now. Yes, come on in.
So
Tammy's
check this out. Okay, so when you cut down to it, you have to realize that the American government as a whole is being run. The institution's being run by evil people. That doesn't mean that all Americans are evil. That just means the government is. And
there's lots of things in Latin America to where they're always complaining about Americans and American. I'm telling them no. It's not the American people. It's a CIA and many parts of the corporate controlled government.
Conglomerate.
that do all kinds of fucked up shit around the entire planet.
Yep.
It's got nothing to do with the good, hardworking, honest folk that live and bust their ass every fucking day to put food on the table and keep a roof over their head.
Yep.
And so that struggle that everybody has, I'd like to be able to relatively solve. Why? Because even though I detest the World Economic Forum and all that fucking bullshit, because they want everyone to own nothing and be happy, so fuck them.
They're Nazis. They're Nazis.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so the only way that you can combat it is to have something. Instead of being in an apartment or having, because it's easier, you're in the city, it's cheaper, you don't buy a plot of land somewhere, wherever. Because what separated 400, 500 years ago, the noblemen from the serfs was owning land. Because they can't control shit. Now, the problem is you got to get far enough away from the cities to where the real estate taxes aren't going to fucking kill you, because they can take your shit away from you if you don't do that. So you got to get to a place to where you can do your shit, pay the man, because whenever they ask Jesus, do you pay your taxes? He tell them, give me a coin. Oh, yeah, whose face is on that coin? Caesar. Yeah, well, give to Caesar what's Caesar's. What's in this world isn't ours. You know, even Alexander the Great, when he wanted to be buried, he said, bury me with my hands outside my coffin, my feet outside the coffin, and I want my coffin to be carried by the best doctors in the empire. And they asked him why. Well, when my hands are out there, for everybody to know that the emperor and the one who conquered the world leaves this world with absolutely nothing in his hands. With his feet bare, no shoes or any way for him to get anywhere, because he's being carried by others and being carried by doctors, so that they know that even the best doctors couldn't save his life because he died.
Yeah. Right.
And so that was,
and even if you can't get out of town, if you can't get out of the big cities and you're stuck there, you can still, there's plenty of ways to grow food.
A backyard is a wonderful thing if you actually have a house. You can't do in an apartment.
Yep. Right. Agreed.
But there actually are some things inside these inner cities that you can actually grow. You can grow chickens. You can grow plants, like on the rooftops. They actually have movements.
According to some
you feel like
legal
you're stuck in the city,
you
or you have to be in the city.
For example, my lawyer, who is here now, told me that I can't have chickens on this one whenever I'm asking for it, because there are problems with chickens. So I'm thinking about the rabbits to feed the tilapia. But then they're asking me how I'm going to kill the rabbits so we can have stew, because that's the whole point, right? So I'm still trying to, but it's getting there. You guys heard what it is. And so one small plot of land, which here it's about half the size.
Do more podcasts on that shit, dude, on your self-sustainability, dude, because you do great on those. You're gonna do some more podcasts on that, some live like walkthroughs of all the stuff you got going, dude, because I'm really interested in that.
Well, thank you. Right now it's just dirt and woods, and so I can't show much. But
right now it's still in the conceptual stage, but he's building it. Yeah.
It's all right here, but tomorrow morning I got a guy that's going to be doing the plumbing for the sewage for the future apartment. So it's coming together little by little. You visualize it, you set up the details, you find out what your steps are, and you start taking those steps to reach that future goal that you set for yourself, that blue level that you want. And I didn't want just another pair of apartments, because I sold lot 4 and they built these 3 apartments. It's not a duplex, but a triplex. It's got 3. It's got one lot that's this, and it's divided into 3 little things, and they got a pool in the back, and there's no trees or nothing. Whereas mine's going to have 3 families in the back, okay, and they're stacked on top of each other. Each one's got their own floor. And in the front, you've got the parking in the front, because I don't want to take up all that area to get the car from the front to the back. So the car stays in the front. And that gives you a lot more area to work with. And that area, I've got trees. I'm going to have the fountains. I'm going to have the filtration system. The filtration system I need to put in before I actually level out the lot. So, yeah, it's all things that are a work in progress and step by step. And thank you for the idea. As I put that together, I will do little things. However, this is a pilot project, to be honest with you, that I want to be able to launch to other areas through BNDES, which is the Bank of International Development Bank. And so this project, what I want to be able to do is sell it to all over the world. Wherever you're at, if you got a plot of land, You can do what Leo wrote in his book. Well, I'll have the expertise to be able to help people build the construction and everything else. My father's a civil engineer. So all of those things come together into a nice little package that if you can get a plot of land, I can help you be sustainable. That's my objective.
Right.
For 2022. That's one of my multiples. I still need to finish my book, do a book tour.
I mean, I've been
God, I'm
working
going
on
to
it,
love that book tour.
Yeah, we've got a fundraiser. We're trying to
that's
build
what
it.
you guys are going to help me with the lecture circuit as well. So looks like 2022 is painting up to be a pretty decent year, hopefully.
That's a good year.
Yeah, great fucking year, brother. You know, because we make a way.
Right.
And we got to get merch.
Exactly.
We got to get merch going.
That's what I told. I said,
yes, I'm going to go.
Thank God 2021 is over. And I said, 2022 is going to be a great year if you make it so, because you make everything what it is. If you want to be in heaven, you'll be in heaven. If you want to be in hell, you'll be in hell. It's your choice. Yeah, it's your choice. If you live, that's why I tell people when I first met my priest, first thing he said to me was Merry Christmas. And I said, Father, it's July. And he said, every day's Christmas. And I said, how so? And he said, because it's Christ's Mass. Christmas, that's Christ's Mass. So every day,
Sunday.
Every Sunday and every day, if you're worshiping Jesus every day and you love Jesus in your heart, then that means it's Christ's Mass for you that day. It becomes that day for you. So Christmas is every day. And if you hold on to that, it becomes that. And I was like, you know what, Father? You're absolutely right. And so I tell that story because it is, he was saying it's within you. It's your mindset. Right? It's within you. So you have to make that choice. And that was what he was saying. If you believe in your heart that you love Jesus, and that's why they say that you accept Jesus in your heart. It's not just Jesus, it's his way, it's his ideology, it's that faith, it's that whole process of what Jesus was trying to be and show you to be. If you accept that into your heart, and I'm not trying to teach you to become a Christian, although I am a Christian minister, but I'm also a Jedi Knight. Okay, so and I'm also a Merlin. So I have these titles from around the world for these different religions, but they all mean the same thing. They're all the same priestly title.
You might not want to be pushing people towards Christianity. I do.
I'm okay with that, but
that's just
for
me.
those people that get offended by that, I say, look, it's in everything, and that was the purpose of 12. There was 11 other Christs before Christ. There was 12 of them. Yes. There wasn't 13 because 13 becomes the one.
Melchizedek, right? A couple of Melchizedek. Yes. Yeah. Well, I think what it is a good lesson. It's a good archetype. I always call them archetypes. Like there's
on that comment, Ariel has a backyard.
I'm not going to like bow down to anybody and listen because there's so many books written, cultish books, many of them, that people have fallen into this cult of not thinking for themselves and having their own spirituality and their own connection with the Creator. And that's where I keep it, because that you're calling me a sheep. Really, dude? Are you buying me?
No, he was saying the people that were not listening to other people and not thinking for themselves.
Oh, yes.
And they're the sheep. That's what he was saying. Not you. You're warning against it. He was agreeing.
I'm a pirate, dude. I get a little fucking.
I know, right? Hey, I'm a pirate, so look out. Look, is he giving me?
Bring it on. Bring it on. Come on. I'm ready for you.
You know what? Hey, Leonard. I fucking created some shit yesterday, and I was just bored, and I'm like, you know what? I felt like I had this message, like this intuition to just create something for you. I don't even think you've seen it, bro. It's in our chat host or our host.
I saw it. It's fucking awesome. I loved it, man.
No,
dude, I fucking want you to see it. I haven't seen you in a while. I know you've been dealing with like family issues and all that other shit, but yeah, go check it out, man.
No, I haven't looked. Hold on. Let me get online with my other computer here.
Some fucking magic for you, dude. And I was just playing around.
I'm still working on it.
And I'm bragging
in the
right now.
Island chat.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna log into Facebook on the big computer and take a look. Yeah, I haven't looked at Facebook. I haven't looked at the internet at all today. I got up. My sister was on her way. I was dealing with talking to my wife, finding out where our cat was that got cremated, trying to get a hold of those people. And then my sister was here. We were hanging out, and we ended up with a philosophical, spiritual conversation for 3 hours. And then she was like, "Aren't you on live in like 15 minutes?" And she's running out the door, and I'm running in here to town, so I haven't looked at anything all freaking day long. I have no idea. So I'm gonna right now. I'm logging in. It's gonna ask me to confirm it.
Yeah, let's see. My day was like my I got things to work today. I'm like, oh my gosh,
Peter.
I have
Young Irish
everything.
boy.
I have everything security coded to my phone. So if I try to log into anything, including World of Warcraft, it pings my phone and asks me for permission before I can load anything. It doesn't matter what it is. So I had to tell my phone just now.
I'm gonna
Yes,
start gaming from this channel just because we're gamers. I mean, at least me and you are gamers. I don't know about Mike, but I've been playing some PUBG.
I used to be a really big gamer. Just depends on which ones you want me to play. I mean, Madden, I'll kick your fucking ass.
bro.
On the Star Wars Battlefront, and I'll kick your ass. But I don't like to.
Dude.
A couple of years ago, I decided I need to focus on something.
Horn, but
Aaron,
I don't usually play video games. Boy, I'm very badass.
Totally badass, bro. Aaron,
awesome.
Those are totally both badass, and I'm gonna use them. You'll see on my Friday show. On my Friday show, I'm going to use them on my show.
They're all yours, bro.
Those are badass, dude. Thank you for that. I'm not even kidding. Those are cool. Those are kick-ass. Yeah. You were just bored. Wait, you guys gonna tune in on Friday and see. I'm gonna show them because right now they're on this computer, but not here, and I'm not gonna fuck with my phone to get them up to show them to you to share my screen.
So one is your like your YouTube video, like your the first one is just like I'll make you one for you so you have all the words in there. But one is for like your YouTube thumbnail. That's the first one, and the second one is your logo. What goes
is the logo? Yes, yeah. So I'm gonna use that as a logo, and I can tell by the format of which one was for what. I can see that in the format. So, so I will be using. I'll show both of them. I'll put one in the background. The one for YouTube I'll use as the background on the wallpaper, and then I'll put the other one as the logo up in the corner, like this one. Only a little bit because normally I have Ryan Rising, which is the book, right? I usually have the cover of the book up there. Here we go. I have that, but it shows the whole thing, but it couldn't fit on the card, right? Because this is my business card, right? Orion Rising.
Tammy, I just left the link. Hold on, I'm going to leave it again, Tammy, so you can join. This is my.
So Tammy, thank you for that, brother.
She's fucking looking hot, dude. Tammy is looking fucking hot, and she's just making herself better every day. That's right. Really, you'll see. Hold on. Hold on. I'm going to leave this in here, and I'm going to share it right now. Tammy, there you are, right there. You see it? That's the link. Yard.com.
Give it just a minute.
Yeah, you just got to click on that and then follow the instructions. It'll tell you to let your mic and your camera on, turn on.
Anybody that's in the chat wants to join, join.
And it's been so long since I've had a live.
Just be respectful because none of us are respectful with each other. We cut each other off all the time. Yeah. But this I have to say, this episode 7 is where we actually starting to refine what we're doing. We're starting to get used to each other. This is in development. So we're still developing this channel and what we're doing.
But
right. Yes. We'll get there. It takes a little bit of time for everybody to get used to the dynamic of talking together and working together and figuring out our little dynamic and who talks when to shut the hell up and let the other people talk.
Right. Well, I try to always take a backseat role, but I'm also like a big, when it comes to me, I want to say it. And that's my biggest issue is I'll think I'm saying something nice and quiet over here just to remind myself later, but really I'm just screaming at everyone.
Peter, we got to get him on here too. I got to get him on.
He's got to get his fucking phone going, dude. Come on. Step it up. Just get a little bit more. If you need help, y'all want to leave us donations for Peter's phone, we will fucking hook him up with something so he can get on because Peter's fucking hilarious.
He's working on it. I talked to him yesterday.
Awesome, folks.
Yeah, I talked to him yesterday, and he's hoping to get his computer wired straight soon. If not, we'll have to buy him one or something, guys. We'll have to donate some money and get him something. And then
we're going to start. Peter, what's your donate link, bro? Leave us your donate link so anybody who's watching this can donate. Yeah, we'll leave it up on the screen, brother.
Peter, I don't know if Peter has I think he does. Peter, if you have anything, whatever it is, PayPal or whatever, bro, that they can donate. Put it in the chat, Peter. And
starving musicians and actors, fucking I know how that works, dude. Starving artists, and that's what we all are. Like most of us.
He's got to have. I mean, he is an actor. So he's got to have.
What's the percentage of like people that make it from their art and their music, and what's the percentage of people? Oh, he doesn't have PayPal. What do you got, brother? What do you got? Like, leave it up. Like, somebody can find you and they can send you money. So you need a little help. It's okay.
Maybe we'll set him up.
I know I will. I know I will. I'm a fucking idiot.
Aaron, set him up a GoFundMe page and we'll give him the link. That's what we'll
Yes,
work
we're
on
gonna do
today.
that. Yes, we will do that.
Yeah.
I may, because I think I got to do it for my
On his bank account. So Peter, if I set you something up, you got to like put it on your bank account, for tax purposes
so
and
that you
shit.
get in it, so that you
Yeah.
don't you do?
So you got to pay taxes on that shit.
If you give it to him, if we hook it up and put it there, and then get it to the point where he just needs to insert the point, the banking information, I can, or you can, one of us, or can walk him through what he needs to do to hook it up so that we actually have that, or a Patreon, or
Peter, Stan, I'll be in touch with you, brothers.
Yeah, we'll get you hooked up, bro. I did this for the girls over in the Czech Republic, for the Podreskas over in the Czech Republic, the Ivana and Ivana channels, the EBE, extraterrestrial, a biological entity, Oli, who claims he's from the 12th dimension. They've been channeling him since 1994, and they had outdated equipment about 4 years ago, and they were having issues trying to translate.
There we go. We're back.
And they needed an upgrade, so I got together with a bunch of other guys, and we put together she actually hooked up her own GoFundMe, and then we took that and solicited it for everyone and got her donations. And because the money here in America, if you donate like $50 American, it translates into like $250 check.
Yes.
Money. So it was easy for people. Like $1 was 10 Czech dollars, right?
Yep.
Something like that. Yeah. It's really a big number. So I was telling people, look, you can donate $1 and it'll help, right? So we got $1,500.
I need to get my PayPal up because right now the Brazilian real is 5-1. So yeah, you donate $50, I get $250 in reais. Right. So I need to get that set up. And I've been talking about that for a couple of weeks
right now, man.
Yeah. That's why I put in my book, Surviving.
Well, I even put in the BitChute because Michael McIntosh helped me, not the BitChute, sorry, the Bitcoin. Michael McIntosh helped me set up my own little wallet and shit. And so I know fuck all about that. But hey, my Bitcoin wallet is there in the descriptions in my videos on Benya Perspective. So if you got a gumption,
you use Brave.com, dude? Do you use the Brave browser, Mike? The Brave browser?
I used to. It crashed recently, so I'm back on Chrome right now. But yeah, I've been using the Brave browser for about 3.5 years.
You collect not Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. It's not Bitcoin. But
over the last I got into it because Luke Rudenstkowski talked about it, about guaranteeing our privacy and everything else because they don't track your ass like Microsoft and Google do. And so I wanted to get away from that. Granted, I've got Gmail and Hotmail, so I'm tracked by them regardless. However, I wanted something
you could
different.
use DuckDuckGo, and they advertise the fact that they make sure that nobody tracks your shit. They in fact
three and a half years ago, I started using.
DuckDuckGo just got bought out by ABC, bro.
Mm-hmm. And ABC.
But I've been using Brave browser and DuckDuckGo for about 3 years. Both of those are fucking awesome. Hell yeah. Yeah. And you get more information on both that platform and that search engine as a combination than any search that you'll get anywhere else. And you won't be monitored. You'll be able to figure out what you're doing, and you'll be able to see more truth. For example, Rumble.
But always use a VPN if you really don't want to be monitored. Use a VPN.
Mark has people talking to him from China because of a VPN. Without a VPN, Chinese can't get out.
Right.
And soon that'll be the same story for the Canadians, the same story for the Australians. It'll be the same story for the Argentinians.
I don't have to fucking
do what?
All right. Hold on.
I didn't hear you.
Hold on real quick, guys. I want to answer what Peter's saying in the chat right here, where Peter says, I need to get my PayPal hooked up because what is he saying? He has $500 or €500 in PayPal account. You can contact PayPal, Peter, if you're still on. Yeah. You can contact PayPal and have them cut you a check and mail it to you. My sister did that for a while before she finally got a bank account hooked up to it. So if you don't have a bank account hooked up to it, you can have them cut you a check. They'll mail it to you, and then you can go to a bank and cash that check. So anybody that gives you money on PayPal, they'll just cut you a check. But I would still say get your bank account hooked up to it because it makes it so much easier because you just hit a button, collect. And it goes right into your account.
Well, I have a question about that though, if you know it all.
I don't know.
I started with a company, and before I even made a single sale, before anything even happened, I started with a company selling CBD, right? and they cut me off. Now, for about 2 years, they're like, "Oh yeah, you could be, but you can't use it." So they're like doing this back and forth thing with me.
Yeah, they do that
like,
weird shit.
So far, I've not even tried to have another one. I'm like, "Fuck you! You already fucked me before I could be fucked." So should I just stick with that decision, or is there something I should do there?
Well, are you talking about a PayPal account? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Dude, you got her PayPal account not taken down, but they put a what do they call that when they put a hold on it and you can't get into it, but you still have a balance in there.
And they still let me
so they still let you have the account. But what they basically did to her is what they've been doing to a lot of people, and especially people that are selling CBD and cannabis in certain states that is legal. They're shutting them down. We're still dealing with these same pricks that we were dealing with when we were kids.
Right.
Man. It's bullshit.
And so, like I said, even before I made this first sale, before I made it, just by the name of the company, they like took my shit down. And so since then, I've just not used them. I've not said they're a payment option. And I'm saying, I mean, if you've worked with them long enough, he's worked with them a long time, but I still but if you think that I can do something with that, maybe I should work with it. But like,
well, really. You could, but there's so many options these days. Why?
Yeah. See, and that's kind of where I was at.
See, that's where I'm at. I have, I just showed my sister because my phone, she goes, "Well, your phone is locked. What happens if there's an emergency?" I said, "Well, there's an emergency part in there that has the phone numbers, and I just program in the numbers, and you can unlock my phone without unlocking it. You hit emergency contacts, and you can call somebody and say, 'Hey, we have this guy's phone and he's unconscious. Are you related to him?'" Right? So I said, "Look, this is why." And I opened up my phone and I said, there is access to 4 credit cards, 3 bank accounts, two checking accounts, and 2 savings. So 4 bank accounts on this phone. If I don't have my phone locked, people have access to this. So my phone is completely locked out and you can't open it unless you can get through the lock. And the reason for that is because I have the apps. And I said, look, and I had PayPal and I have Cash App. I have Apple Pay.
I'm sorry to tell you, Leo, but it doesn't require you being locked. The fact that it's on your cell phone means it's already been hacked.
I mean, in a sense.
It exists on this planet. It's already been hacked. That's like saying I'm breathing air that's not going to kill me.
Well, no, hold on.
Right.
Now you're setting up a straw man.
If you have an electronic
now you're setting up a straw man.
It can be hacked.
Okay. These little buttons. I got irritated before the show today, and I got stressed, and I ended up destroying my keychain. These little buttons right here. This is lockout. This is a technology that uses biometrics, voice recognition, facial recognition, blood flow, because they used an infrared camera in order to get that. Lots of different things in order for biometric identification to get into your computer. Why? Because the majority of the falsifications are done, like you're saying, getting onto a computer using somebody else's passcode. But nowadays, the fact that it is on your computer already or on your phone, for example, there are friends of mine that have their cell phones filled with their bank account, with their credit card and everything else. And they go on to Alibaba, or they go on to Amazon or whatever, and they go on to Uber, or they go on to iFood or whatever. Their credit card's there. They're sending that stuff out. Yeah, it's on their phone. It's safe. Nobody can get it. But you've been sending out those signals. And those signals are being captured by someone, and someone is picking them up if they want to or not.
Right, of course.
Sometimes they come in and they want to grab it. For example, now I've got a brand new credit card to where if I just could put it close to the machine, it already reads it. And so I don't have to shove the chip in there or the magnetic strip. I just put it close to it. Now, the problem is now the thieves have gotten smart to where they have this cash machine to where they'll go up to your back pocket. And they'll put that close to your back pocket. It'll read your card, and that'll automatically take whatever amount they want on there. And usually
I feel like that's because it's the thieves that are creating the systems and the apps in the first place.
Well, yeah.
I know that sounds bad, or
having all that stuff on the apps and everything else requires them. And I got a notification from Google 4 days ago that my passwords, they didn't lose them, but they found out those passwords are out there in the internet somewhere. Someone found them. So I don't know if that's a phishing expedition or whatever. It probably is.
Right. I got that too, because some of the credit cards that you have, they give you that kind of I pay for the companies to watchdog that shit, but then you have the credit card companies themselves also doing that now, right?
Yep.
So that's one of the reasons why you can't use my card anywhere without my authorization. If you use any one of my card numbers, even electronically,
that is a problem. For example, it's okay whenever you're in your regular routine, but I used to travel all the time. So all of a sudden I'd leave. If I wanted to get a hotel room or get a meal at a restaurant, my card wouldn't go through. I'd have to go to the bank or wait for the next day for the business day in order to get to the bank, in order to liberate my card, maybe within 2 or 3 business days.
Right.
You know, and in that time,
that's why
you're going to eat.
Right.
Well, that's why over here, once that happens to you for the very first time, you learn to call your bank or your credit card company ahead of time and say, I'm going to be traveling from point A to point B, and I will be using my card in this state, in that city, in this city, or whatever.
Which means that you have to ask Big Brother for permission for you to go somewhere.
Well, you set it up.
Well,
if you don't set that up, but you're choosing that. When you start with a credit card or a bank, you have to turn that thing on. So you have to choose to have that level of security. Yeah. If you don't, then they won't do that, and they won't care. And they'll go, well, there was a charge in LA. Well, I wasn't in LA. Yep. Well, I didn't know that because you didn't tell me not to allow out of your routine. Right. Then you go on the computer and you say, if you get a charge that's out of my normal routine, contact me. You have to choose to turn it on. So you're not asking Big Brother for permission. You're asking them to watchdog you. You're giving them permission and telling them, please do this. Otherwise, it's not automatic. And if it is, then they're trying to trick you into doing it, but they wouldn't do that. Why would they do that? They're adding work to themselves for free. Why would they turn that on? It's not an option that happens automatically. The only thing they do that with is Amazon Prime. I don't shop in Amazon anymore because I can't log into my account because my account is listed as Leonard O'Neill Investing. Yes, it's listed as Leonard O'Neill Investing. And every time I go on there to buy something, I automatically get, we're giving you free Prime. You can cancel at any time. No, I don't want Prime. There is nothing that tells you. Used to say, no, I don't want Prime. And I want to continue with my shit. Now, to finish, you have to accept it. Then you have to opt out afterwards. So I wrote a letter to Amazon saying, I will never, ever use you again because you keep trying to trick me into taking and accepting Prime because I'm a company.
You know that Jeff Bezos was raised in a circus, dude? You know Jeff Bezos was raised in a circus environment?
I believe it.
His dad was like, he was like the one that was always gone, but his mom and him, I believe, hold on, don't quote me on that, but Jeff Bezos grew up in a circus environment, a carny, like a scam artist, dude. Like really, he was prepared. Like these guys, dude. YouTube, what is that? Sergey, what's his name? The guy that created YouTube, what's his name?
Yeah,
Sergey.
I know you to something. Yeah.
Okay, and then we got Mark Zuckerberg, and we've got fucking
Tom from MySpace.
Tom from MySpace is a badass because he was told we got to get back doors to your shit, and he said okay, and he totally made it like some fucked up thing and then left it and just buried it. He's like, fuck you, I'm not doing that. Tom is the coolest one of all the big tech people from MySpace. Tom, dude, that guy was actually a cool guy. He was a real guy.
MySpace is now like YouTube. MySpace is now just videos like YouTube. Did you know that?
Yeah.
MySpace used to be a platform where you had like Facebook.
He set it up so it would just be fucked up and you figure it out from here. That's basically what I see it as. That's what I perceive it as.
When he was at that point where he was going to lose his business, he kind of saw that he was either going to be bought out or like taken out or something's going to happen.
Or the intelligence services in America.
Yeah. And he made it really difficult for him. So.
Yeah, they were trying to get competition. So they were trying to wreck him because he was competition. He was Facebook's competition. Yeah, he was before Facebook. He had that platform before Facebook had a platform.
Yep.
And he did a great job. I mean,
I liked it. Oh man, I liked it because you had access as a programmer. Because I know computers, my son would be like, what are you doing? And I said, I'm going to put this video on my MySpace page, but it doesn't have the artist title. So I'm going to go into the programming and I'm going to create a space for me to put the title in there. So when the video pops up, it'll have the title and the song, the name of the band and the song for people. So they'll know what the name of it. And he says to me, wait a minute, you're on MySpace's platform. I said, yeah. And he goes, you're going to change something on their platform? I said, yeah, I'm putting the video on and I'm going into the script. It's right here. I'm going into the program that is the auto player program insert that they're using. And I can see that. So I'm going into it and I'm creating a place to put a title right here. Look, and I start writing code. And he goes, what are you doing? I said, I'm changing the code so that it'll display the name.
Yeah,
I put the name in and then I go, there, watch. And I put it up and it goes up and all of a sudden there's a title and everything. And he goes, how the fuck did you do that? I said, MySpace didn't block us out. Everyone can do this. If you know code, if you know how to program, making games and making videos and computer programs, you can change the code in here. Watch. Yep. And so I did it again to another one. I said, what do you want it to say? Fuck you, asshole. I'll put that in there. And I posted it and it said name band, pussy. Song, fuck you, asshole.
Right.
And he was like, oh my God. He's like, what else can you do? And I was like, well, here, let me do this. Let me take that off. And let me set a link in there so that it auto plays their next video. And he's like, what?
Right.
And he's like, you can do that? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to create a link and I'm going to have it auto play. So that's what YouTube does. It auto plays the next video in line. That's just a line of code that they wrote that says, go to the next, and they track you. So they know what you like and what you have watched, and they put it all in an order for you and have you auto play shit you already know because you're interested in it. I said, this is what they do. And I put it in. He was like, where'd you learn this? And I'm like, I was writing ones and zeros and ones.
Binary motherfucker.
Right?
I remember when DOS was around and we were going a backspace. We were going backspace hyphen go to backspace line 7 HTTP telling now go to a place, a website or a web address. Or we were saying now, run win. That was how you had to start Windows in the beginning. It went to the C prompt and you had to hit run win. You had to type run win and hit enter and it would start up Windows. Otherwise you started in DOS, remember? That was the way it was back in the day. So I had to learn code.
Back in the day, that was 82. I mean, I coded in DOS. I also coded in BASIC. At 7 years old, I figured out that I didn't want to code in BASIC because getting back to Star Wars, I was 5 years old when Star Wars came out, and I watched the movie 11 times. My dad didn't realize why I wanted to watch it so much.
Right.
Because I love that fucking movie, but that's
I've seen all those movies more times than I've seen any other movie in my life. I bought the series. Great son on them. He watched all of them. He was obsessed with them. His whole life.
The Matrix. I've watched the Matrix.
In the Matrix, I watched all. I just revisited because they have Resurrections coming out or is out. So because of that, I went back and watched all the trilogy to make sure that I understood where they left off for the next movie. I'm really big on it. I worked at a movie theater. I'm really big on movies and going to the movies. I've always been a movie guy. So I worked in the industry for a while, right? And because of that, I'm like trilogies, man. If they're good, especially when they're written right. I was in the store last night. I picked up Dune, the original book. It's like 1,000 pages long, right? It's like this thick. And when they made the movies, they had to cut that book in Harry Potter and the Lord of the Rings. The last 3 movies of the Lord of the Rings that they made was made from one book. He actually only wrote 2 books. They split it into 6 storylines. They were all like 1,000 pages long. Yeah. People don't realize.
Like I said, I think the only time I really ever got into the whole literature movie, and it's sad because I mean, it's not like I'd never watched TV or whatever. I'm not like a totally dense person, but it was with Harry Potter. And it wasn't until the 3rd movie came out and I saw the movie compared to reading the book that I went, oh my gosh. I mean,
right.
And because I wasn't so into movies and things before, I think that's why it was such an opener. I'm going, wait a second, they took everything. Hang on, how is this even in the movie? Everything fucking where's the important parts?
Yeah.
How are we? And it was a great movie. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I'm all about Harry Potter. I know I'm a total dork. I was like in my 20s. My kids were young. I'm a Harry Potter buff.
I've seen every one of those. I've never read the books, but I've seen every one of the movies 100 times.
I read all the books and I watched all the movies. And like I said, it was only that 3rd movie. I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys, what did you do? Because there was so much in that book, though. Really was. So I get it, from a presenting it. But yeah, I remember that really being my first whole Hollywood what? right? And that's kind of sad. I know. I was well into my
No, it's designed that way. It's not. You have to understand. You have to understand that all of these storylines are all the same story arc. It's the archetype that we were talking about earlier. So the Harry Potter and everything that happens in that is no different than everything that happens to Luke Skywalker. It's no different than everything that happens to Thor, and it's no difference to everything that happened to Star Trek's Captain Kirk. It's all the same arc. It's the same storylines. They're all have the same beginning, middle, and end, and they all were trying to tell you the same story.
That's what art has taught us works.
Yes,
because that's what people have accepted for 500 years. That's what people want to see. Why? Because that's an internal aspiration that we have from existence itself. We want to be able to see that because we want to know that life has meaning other than this dreary routine that we have launched ourselves into to say that we're existing. When in reality, we're existing, we're not living.
Harry Potter.
It's different.
Right.
But see, and that's the story that they're trying to tell us all. They're trying to tell it. They're getting the story.
Yes.
If you take the whole total contents of the Bible and all of its everything and every story that's in there, and you decide to put that to a book or film, it's either going to be Star Wars, Star Trek, Harry Potter, Dune. It's going to be all of those combined because they're all telling you the same story. They're just telling it to you in a different way. And so for you, because of your age, where you were in your environment, that one resonated with you and got your attention. For guys like Mike and I, were a little bit older,
raising children at this point.
Star Wars resonated with us, and we saw the similarities in Star Wars. Other people only saw it when they saw the Matrix.
Right. And Matrix too. I love the Matrix.
It's all the same storyline.
I just didn't fall into that whole loving it so much that it was like a thing until Harry Potter came out. Which is why I say it has nothing to do with my personality. I was raising kids, but the magic, the whole idea of, but it still comes down to that whole thing of here's this one magic kid because he was, you know what I mean? And it still kind of brings you down to this. There's that one major player that's so important. And yes, but understand, we are all the major players in our lives. There's no someone else.
We are the major player in our life. We are the major player in our life. We have to choose and decide where we go. And the resonances that we have with us. Exactly. And so the resonance that we have, it resonates with other people that are willing to grow with us. Why? Because the people that you don't jive with, that you don't have a vibe with, means that resonance is in cancellation. What does that mean? You have a resonance where a wave is going up. You've got a resonance where a wave is going down. They're both equal resonances, but when they come together, they cancel each other out. So you don't want somebody canceling out your resonance. You want a positive resonance and another positive resonance coming together and building each other up. That's what we're doing in this community. We are similar resonances that are feeding off each other and making our voice stronger and louder and heard by more. Yes. Because it's not my resonance, it's not Aaron's resonance, it's not Leo's resonance, it's not your resonance, Norma. It's all of ours that come together in a certain way and just enhance the message that everyone has to say because we're all speaking the same language.
Right.
Yes.
So the question from Tammy here is,
in a way, it's kind of sad it took Harry Potter for me at my age, because it took so much of all this stuff being out there for me to finally But I think that came to the fact that I was raising children.
Well, for me, it was Matrix. The Matrix fucking changed me. Now, Star Wars was. I love the Jedi and everything else, and the Bible changed my life.
Yeah, I always loved Star Wars too.
But the Matrix, opened my eyes to where they're finally telling the truth. They're finally telling us what this stuff is all about. And I started thinking about more of the shit that was in there.
Oh, but they didn't though, bro. Here's the thing on that. I put the video in the chat. It's up there. I'll retype it in there today. You'll have to. It's in the.
I'm still trying to watch that video. Sorry, Leo. Still trying to get to it.
That video.
I got 2 more tabs open. I got to get to yours. Yes.
The guy who created the Matrix.
Got the shit stolen from by the Wojcicki brothers. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So they stole it because they wanted to control the narrative. That's why the narrative at the end of the last one was the AI god was a good person, not bad, and the bad person became Smith. Agent Smith became the Antichrist. He became the devil. and that way, when Neo went to the city of the robots, the AI, it was beautiful and there was life everywhere. So they changed the narrative, showing you that the AI is beautiful, and getting away from the first movie.
Hold on. Whenever they were trying to break the code, whenever they're trying to break the code in Morpheus, what did Agent Smith tell him? We created the perfect reality. Everybody kept trying to jump out of it because they didn't believe it.
Right.
We finally found out that people need to suffer in order to accept it as reality. Otherwise, they don't accept it.
That's the rub. That's the lie. That's the rub. The truth of it is, people needed to have the choice of whether to choose or not. And that's the truth.
That's the AI not understanding the God creator concept of this holographic quantum multiverse.
Right.
Okay, because they're trying to create their own metaverse, and their AI systems cannot handle the depth and profundity of free will, because there is no free will in programming. There's just yes and no.
Right. Because we created the AI, but we didn't create it to be autonomous. So because of that, there's no concept of a God. So whoever's in charge, there's no free will, because it's all binary. Everything is done because it was programmed to be that way. So they think AI believes that's what this construct is. And they're trying to, and that's in reality. In reality, the evil and the AI know that it's not, but if they know that they can convince us that we don't know anything, they can, by
it's all about control. They
yes, because by proxy they can get our vote. Do you see? If they take away your knowledge of the entire universe and the fact that you have free will and that you can choose whatever you want, and they tell you that you're a slave and that's all you are and that's all you ever have been and that's all you ever will be, if you believe that, you will create that. You'll become that. You'll step into that role and be the slave. And that's what they're trying to do here. That's what they've been doing here.
But how many have already fallen into that?
Many people have already fallen into that. But that's part of the pendulum that people don't realize that is going on. The pendulum has swung and swung long ago to as far away from God as it could possibly go. And hence why the Jesus had to reoccur 12 times on this planet, making sure that the last time that he came here, that he used his true name. Any other time he used a different name, but he meant the same thing. This time, Jesus returned as Jesus, and he was the Christ, the Savior. And he was the Savior before, but time was different. This time, he sacrificed himself to get our attention. Before that, there was like Muhammad. Muhammad was an aspect of Jesus, but Muhammad didn't sacrifice himself. Muhammad ascended before they could crucify him. He left. Same thing with Ra. Ra did not get crucified. Ra left when they came after Ra and wanted to get rid of the concept of Ra. Ra just left. And that was what Jesus said to do to his masses. Don't fight them. Just dust the sand off your heels and leave. Leave your sandals. And
but wait, he also, hold on. There's love thy neighbor as thyself. Why? Because whenever we don't necessarily consider others as equals, as other representations of us in this multiverse, we're going to be killing ourselves. One. Yes. Two, he told his disciples, whenever he was putting that ear back on that soldier, he said, the time for your sword is not now. It is after I am gone.
It is later on.
They will be hunting you down and you have to defend yourself.
Right. Yeah. Well, and that's where people get confused when he says, turn the other cheek. They think he means let people beat you to death, and that's not what he meant.
No, at all. But only a tough guy understands this. Because what happens? You're 6'4", you weigh 250 pounds. You've been playing football for like 8 years. You're built like a brick fucking truck, and all of a sudden, this little chick that's about 5 foot nothing, weighing about 85 pounds, comes up to you and gives you a slap across the cheek and says, "I don't like you." Are you going to pound the fuck out of her and make sure that pulp of flesh never fucking messes with you again? Or are you just going to look at her, smile, and say, here.
Wow. Okay.
Hit me again, because you can't fucking do shit.
Well, to bring us back to what
I actually did that in real life to my first wife. This is not a joke. she was all getting crazy and just getting cuckoo. And
see.
she was just like getting out of control in front of our son. And I was like, you need to stop doing this. If you want to talk, we can leave and go and talk. And she was just no place to have that. And she took the plate of her food and she threw it on the ground and it like broke it all over the place. And I got up and I was talking to her and I said, look, you know what? I'm going to have to leave because you're just upset now. And you're so upset. I'm going to have to go in the other room. And I could see her body language. Now, remember, I've been in martial arts since I was 4. So I could tell her she was contemplating hitting me. And I could tell that she was contemplating punching me in the face. And I could, like Mike said, at some point right then, I could have stopped her. I could have pulled the fucking arm off when she tried to hit me. I could have strangled her before she could have even moved. But I didn't. You know what I did? I stood there and I let her punch me with everything she had in the face. And when she hit me, I looked back at her. I didn't change the tone of my face, the tone of my voice. I didn't change the expression on my face. I looked at her and I said, you have a problem. And then I looked at her and I turned my cheek to her and I said, you want to hit this side too? And she just stood there. And I said, I'm going to leave for a
there's
while.
That smart ass remark.
And I walked outside.
The thing is, turning to the other cheek, what happens is you disarm them because they want a battle.
Yes,
they want you to fight because they want to be the victim because they want to be pummeled.
Yes,
that's why they hit somebody that was
like
harder.
I said. I've been that angry. I've been in that
you're not
rage.
going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to antagonize me. I'm going to continue on my path, regardless of what you want to control me by.
Right. And so later when I came back, she told me, she said, she calmed down and she said, that was kind of scary. And I said, what do you mean, the fact that you punched me? I said, yeah, you punched me in front of our kid. And she says, no. She says, no, it scares me because I hit you with everything that I had and you acted as if nothing happened. I mean, nothing. There was nothing in you that said I was punched in the face by someone. She says, then you looked at me and just said, you have a problem. I'm going to leave. I'll come back later. And she said, I was never more turned on in my life than that moment. And I said, why?
Well, no,
what are you talking about? And she said, because
an angry person.
Yeah, she was like, I wanted you to hit me because every guy I've been with has hit me.
I need your reaction.
Do that because I wanted you to be, I was so mad. I wanted you to be just like every guy in my life. And you didn't, and you refused. And when I hit you, no one, I have never punched anyone in my life that didn't hit me back. Yep. She said, I punched you. You acted as if nothing happened at all and said, you have a problem. I'm going to leave. I'll come back later and we'll talk. She said, you walked out the door and I wanted to run after you and tell you I was sorry. And I said, I'm glad you didn't because you needed time to think about what happened and not just in that moment. I said, so I didn't do that because I was trying to do that. I did that because I was trying to show you that and she goes, I get it. She says, yeah, she defused everything and became completely opposite of what I thought you were going to do. And she says, and I had no idea that people would really react like that. I've never seen that in anyone ever. And she said, in that moment, I realized that you are not any of those people. And you never will be. I'm like, it's because I'm not. And I never can be. It's not my makeup.
Exactly. We choose not to be.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, when I'm totally blind raged,
normal, stereotypical. Why? Because it's the probability it's a statistical reality.
Yeah.
That many people in a lower level of comprehension are there.
Yeah.
Now, whenever I was being slapped and beat around and that sort of stuff and scratched, fine, that's fucking normal. Just let it go off. Started biting, pulled the car over, slapped, and said, you don't want to take this physical.
Yeah, you don't want to go there.
You don't want to go there. You are going to lose. Don't fucking go there. You want to go on any other level, we can do that, but you're not going physical. Because that's what women don't realize. Because they do all that shit. Because as hold on, Norma. As loved little girls, princesses of their father, they could beat up and do whatever the fuck they wanted. Nobody said a damn thing except other women. Because women beat the shit out of other women like a motherfucker.
That we do. It's fucking crazy.
And y'all are fucking vicious.
Brutal.
And y'all's language, whenever y'all are together, y'all are more twisted and perverted than any guy's language ever was. So
we gotta blame you guys.
Off to most women because y'all are fucked.
Yeah, we're awful. Yes.
But you keep that whole barrier of no, we're supposed to be this way. But in a certain programming level, you don't realize the power that you have. For example, a big boy,
Right.
if he accidentally hits someone, everyone's on him like dog shit, telling you can't hit somebody who's smaller. You can't do this.
Right.
You can't hurt other people. And so you learn to restrain your bullshit. A small, inoffensive little girl, everybody laughs whenever they slap against their leg because it doesn't fucking hurt. So nobody gives a shit. And so they think they can continue doing it. And when they become an adult woman, they think they can continue doing the same stupid fucking bullshit. And it's not that it doesn't hurt, because it really fucking doesn't, but that's not where you want to go. But they don't get that because nobody ever fucking put them in their place. And that is a problem that normally happens. And that's why it's not being put in your place. It's just knowing that you can hurt someone, so don't do it. And women don't, because nobody ever tells them, yes, that fucking hurt, don't do it again.
Right.
So it's realities that, they propagate.
Here's the thing, like, just
from
my own personal experiences, and really being an angry person that really did, like, I mean, I don't like make excuses for myself at all, dude. I am a fire sign from hell, like fire all the way. So growing up and dealing with emotions and dealing with my life and just the pain and the shit that I gone through, as minimal as it might have been to some, was hard for me. And so when someone's coming at me, I don't care your size, right? I'm like, I'll take you on. Yeah, you might take me down, but I'm not caving to you, bitch, right? Because I caved enough already, right? So there's like understanding the people that you're actually dealing with, right? Totally understanding,
if I came up to someone like
the framework in which it's coming at you.
You just walk away.
Need to interject on that, because not all women hit their men, and not all women enjoy that. So you can't stereotype and say all women.
You're right. I have a tendency to stereotype. So welcome, Ariel. How you doing?
Thank you. So no, I think that's very disrespectful to any woman that does that. I've been hit by men, but I've never hit them, and I don't enjoy hitting a man. I mean, only if he wants me to, but that's in the bedroom. But that's beside the point. I just don't do that.
It's fun. And that's why I say, coming from a person that has that little man syndrome, coming from
change, but it's not in combat.
That's like always spending
right, another thing, go hit that one down.
My God, Leo and Ariel, you are going where I don't want to go. Normal.
We're already there.
Take over, please.
I'm trying to keep it on this level.
But no, I just can't stand when people like just say all women, because it's not all women. I was raised that.
Yeah, you can't do that.
And that's
women
don't. Someone that gets upset by it, I still find myself saying it. Right? Oh, it's all this type. When I know it's not all. I think as humans have a tendency, and I don't know if it's just the way we were raised, in the way that, we whatever, but I tend to generalize in ways I don't mean to also. I'll go, oh, it's just this type of people. No, I mean,
that's part of the distraction that we're programmed. It's part of our programming to do that. Is if you paint with a broad brush,
bring it into
and
boxes,
and then you're just like, and that's the distraction. If we can get, if they can get all of us to paint all of us with a broad brush, then we're not individualizing each person, and we're not acknowledging that every single individual is a being in and of themselves. That's part of the negative process that is to keep us distracted away from seeing ourselves as individuals. So I love it when people like Ariel will point that out and remind people, hey, listen, I'm not an everyone. I'm an individual, and I might fall into some of those categories at some times, but I don't like the idea of being painted into one entire thing. And she's absolutely right, because we're not. So you can't say, well, you men, right? My Reiki master teacher, my original master teacher who gave me my first 2 attunements, she's a Reiki master teacher and a Wiccan priestess, and I've known her since I was 22 years old. And one day I contacted her to see if I could get her to come on the show. And she said, no, I'm sorry, I can't come on your show. And I said, oh, okay. I said, can't means won't. Why don't you want to come on my show? And she said, well, you're actually backing the orange guy, and you're a sexist. And I said, what do you mean I'm a sexist? And she said, well, you're a man. You guys had your shots, at ruling this planet and you fucked it up. So now I'm voting for women. I said, so it doesn't matter if the woman is the devil or not. You're just going to vote for her because she's a woman. And she said, yeah, because you guys had your shot and you guys blew it. And I'm like,
yeah, because we're the only ones who generalize. We're the only ones who generalize.
And very sexist. I'm like, how can you call yourself a Wiccan priestess and then go, yeah, but men are the problem? I'm like, how can you call yourself someone who has a position that is supposed to be open-minded to the world and saving the world, and then look at a race of people? That's just as bigoted as if I said, you can't come on, I can't come on your show because you're black.
See, and that's why I don't get into politics, because it's a lot of people, I'm not going to clarify, a lot of people are like, oh, well, you like this guy, so I don't like you, or you like this guy, so I don't like you, so I'm going to shun you from my life forever.
Yeah, if you like Hillary Clinton, I got a serious fucking problem with you, because you got a brain issue, you've got a truth issue, and you've got demon fucking possession issue. So that's a whole.
Well, that's why I don't choose sides, and I just stay neutral to everything.
Well, you have to remember, Michael. You have to remember this that goes back to, here we go. I'm going to quote the movie quote again. This goes back to what Obi-Wan, when he was deceased, said to Luke, when Luke wanted to go and save everybody from Darth Vader, when they said the future is hard to see, it's emotions, we don't know if they're going to live or die. And he said, Luke, you have to understand that all the truths we cling to depend greatly on our point of view. That's the rub in the Matrix. They know that, so if they control the point of view, then they control the narrative in your brain. So when people, that's why I tell people what the red pill and the blue pill is. The red pill is knowledge. That was what that represented in the Matrix. It's the same thing as the fruit given to Eve in the Garden of Eden. It's the exact same story. You take this, you're going to learn something, truth, knowledge, and you'll never be the same for it. Or you take this and you go back to sleep.
No. Hold on. That's the same argument, Leo, that my grandmother, argued with me about. And I've got to, because it wasn't the tree of knowledge that was necessarily a problem. It was the fruit of the tree of good and evil.
That's the man.
Hold on, but those
you can
words
call it a peanut. It doesn't matter.
Hold on, Leo. Those words have meaning. So what happens is,
I think we have
not the knowledge of good and evil is bad, but enjoying the fruits of the knowledge that you didn't have, which was good, the knowledge that you acquired, which is evil, the fruits of that knowledge are the problem. In other words, you recognize lying. You found people that are lying, which means that you have knowledge. You now know something between good and evil. You know that people lie. Now you have learned to lie, and so you are going to lie to somebody. You're going to be a fraud. You're going to be a bankster. You're going to be, take over somebody's.
You have to choose to do that. You're not going to automatically become evil.
That's the thing. That is taking the fruits of that knowledge. Right. You can have the knowledge and understand to be able to protect yourself from the dangers. But when you start saying, oh, I can manipulate, I can control, I can lie, I can do this, I can do that, and the other, and I can do whatever I want to do. Whenever you want to get the fruit of that knowledge and take advantage of that, therein lies the rub. Sorry.
Let me explain this though. Even once you have the knowledge, here's the thing. If I learn the knowledge and you learn the knowledge and you decide that you're not going to do anything evil with the knowledge, but I decide that I'm going to do everything evil with the knowledge, I'm still going to attempt to erase your memory of the knowledge so I can control you. That's what's going on.
But it is
he who controls
to me to protect my own reality and not allow my memory to be erased.
But if you're born and your memory is erased at birth, you don't know that information. And if you never have access to it, you can't make that call. You have to first have access to it to be able to understand what's happening to you. If that's never given to you because it's kept away from your knowledge bank, you never get. That's what they're trying to do, is eradicate.
My case is that I grew up in two different cultures at the same time. So one, the programming was broken from the very beginning. So as soon as I was programmed in one, I was programmed in another, and I tried to figure out my own individual. My own individual programming. But at the same time, that knowledge base, what they were hiding from me in one culture, I was finding out in another.
That's the truth of what's happening.
I programmed myself, though. I didn't let any culture program me. I programmed myself. So I put myself in a
position. You did, because you live in the United States, and so the American culture programmed you completely because you
Whether
can't get away
not,
from the
right.
advertising, the
It's
television, the
everywhere,
movies.
I don't watch TV. That's the thing. I don't watch television.
It's into your head through osmosis.
Myself.
When you're watching TV, it's product placement. They put it in front of your face, whether you look at the TV or not. You see it. So we're still being conditioned by it.
Why are French people different than German people? Why are German people different from Italian people? Why are Italians different from Portuguese? Why are Brazilians different from Chileans? Why are Americans different from Mexicans? Why? Because it's the cultural programming of the ones that are controlling each one of those cultures. Now, they have an endemic culture behind them that they try to maintain, and that's a good thing. And those are wonderful things. And the American culture is work hard, take care of yourself, don't bother your neighbor, and do good. That's part of the American culture. But we're also, I'm going to be a badass, and I'm going to make sure that people know that I'm not going to be quiet, and I'm going to say that's also American culture.
Yeah.
And that is something that I saw clearly between my mother, an American woman, and my father, a Mexican male, which is, basically my mom was raised in the middle of the ERA movement, and she was the most powerful women's lib freaking figure that you can imagine. And dad was from a chauvinistic, macho-based society in Mexico City, and he had all the testosterone of being what now they're calling toxic masculinity, but women since 1980s have been missing because their men didn't have it anymore because they are.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that one culture is better than the other. That doesn't mean that.
Did I say that in one instant? Did I say in one instance that one was better than the other?
No,
each one is what they are.
Yeah. And the reason
that what I'm saying is it doesn't matter like when somebody's raised a different way than somebody else. Like you don't push. You're wrong. You're not supposed to believe that way.
We have a tendency through
but
our
what he's saying
actions
is it has an effect on you. The place that you're raised has a different effect on you than the place someone else was raised because there's cultural differences there. So because of that, you're raised differently. Like for instance, for instance, in America, we eat cows. In India, a cow is a sacred god. You don't touch eating it. We in America eat cows and pigs. And if you're a Muslim, that's offensive. You don't do that. You don't eat pork. You don't eat pig because it's unclean and it's against God's laws. Those are semantics. They don't really matter to where my soul's going or how it gets there, but it's the way that culture is and has been. And the way they develop is always out of necessity. It has nothing to do with anything else. If you look at it and break it down, like don't eat pork, the reason for that was they didn't have any refrigeration and you can't pack pork in salt. It still degrades, breaks down, and then it spoils. But you can take beef and stick it in a thing of salt and put it in a rock of salt. It'll be salty as fuck.
Plus the fact, Leo, that pigs eat just about anything, and so they are filled with all kinds of viruses and other kinds of stuff. And even today, I got pork chops 2 days ago. You have to cook them clean. I mean, my beef, I like it pink in the middle.
Yeah, cook them all the way.
Center is fucking awesome. Now, I couldn't get a burger in the U.S. that was pink in the middle because they said, E. coli. And I'm like, fuck you pussy. But pork, you have to cook it all the way through. Otherwise, you will get an infection.
Yeah, you can. If you don't have
so you have to cook it well. And back then, they didn't. So there are
realities. They didn't have any refrigeration either. So they couldn't protect against and slow down bacteria from growing. We can take now a pork chop, same what he has. We can cook that and then put it in the refrigerator, and not just sitting out, open the refrigerator, but in something. We can leave it sit there for a week and it's still good.
That's how some people do eggs too. Some people leave their eggs out; they don't put them in the fridge. Whereas here, we put our eggs in the fridge. And other places, they leave them out.
They don't.
No, but
they only last for about a week and a half.
Fresh chicken eggs shouldn't be
actually, but with the eggs, here's a trick now, and this is my prepper in me. The egg is the eggshell itself, we know is calcium, and it's porous, right? So you can do two things to preserve an egg. You can preserve you can take one egg and you can make it last 5 years. All you have to do is take olive oil and spread it across the whole outside of the egg,
so
and then
every other
get in. Yeah, so it closes off the air, and then turn the egg over every other week. So because there's an air pocket that's still in there as the yolk falls to the bottom. So when you flip that over, it seals the inside as well. And all of the olive oil that you had running slowly down the outside is now flipped over and slowly running back down the outside again. This is a prepper's trick. You can do that, and remember to flip your eggs over every week or every other week. And if you do that and you keep the olive oil flowing and check it, and if you forget it all pools at the bottom, then you got to put more olive oil on it. But if you do that, eggs will keep unrefrigerated for up to 5 years.
And I got some at the store the other day. They're brown and blue eggs. Those never seen them.
The best ones. White eggs are crap. If you get brown eggs and blue eggs, I will. But we sell them here where you can get cage-free, roaming eggs, and they're brown.
Medium rare.
Steak, medium rare.
No,
right?
Linda's saying my mouth is starting to water. I do not eat much meat anymore.
I can't have meat butter. Mine's got to be burnt. I like a bark on it. It's got to have bark. It's got to be burnt.
You take red meat. I've done this, and I do this all the time. I go down to the butcher shop, and they have this. They have tri-tips now. Have them like floating in the sauce, right, marinating. And I walked down there, and I honestly did this. I walked down, I looked, and I said, "What is the oldest, longest one of these tri-tips that sat in here so long you guys are thinking about throwing it out because it's about to go bad?" And the guy looked at me, and he goes, and I said, "Oh, I'm being serious." I said, "Which one of these is the snottiest, oldest looking one that you're thinking about throwing away?" He said, "The one down in the front right there." I said, "Wrap it up, I'll take it." And he goes, "What?" And I said, "How long has that been sitting there? Be honest with me." I said, I'm not somebody here who's trying to come and get you guys into trouble. I know that the best piece of meat you're ever going to eat is one that has been sitting around, starting to turn snotty and going bad. And like a carrion, we humans don't know this, but we like red meat when it's about to spoil. It's really fucking good. It becomes super tender because the enzymes start to break down as the parasites start to eat the food. It breaks down and starts to get snotty. When I took that home, I left it in the refrigerator now for another week. Then I cooked it. The marinade, when I cooked it, you can tell the part that's marinated and how far it penetrated in the meat itself compared to the meat that didn't get it. It was only this thick in the center, this thin in the center that was red meat. And I cooked that for so it was almost raw. And the rest of it had the juices had penetrated the meat itself. And when we cooked it and I cut it and took, even my mother said, "Oh my God, this is the best piece of meat I had in my life." I said, "That's because I aged it." If you go to Claim Jumpers, I don't know if they still sell it, but Claim Jumpers, a chain out here, they had what they call the cowboy blackened steak. And what they did was, they take it, they put pepper on the outside of it, and they age it for 30 days sitting on a shelf and let it just sit there and go snotty and rotten and get ready to die and get ready to be having to be thrown out. Then they cut off the outside part that's crap, put more black pepper on it, and then cook it. And they give it to you, and it is the best tasting meat you'll ever have in your life because it's a day away from being spoiled and poisonous.
It's gotta have bark. I'm the same way with burgers. If they gotta be burnt, I gotta have burnt hot dogs.
You like it black and blue, right? You like it black and blue then. What they do when they do a black and blue is it's rare on the inside and it's charcoal on the outside with patina. They cook that shit super fast, super hot, and you cut into it, and it's a rare steak on the inside, and the outside has got a nice crusty patina with flavor.
Now I'm listening to all this, and y'all in first world countries can have all y'all's problems. If I were living in the U.S. right now, I'd probably be about 350 pounds.
I'm not too far behind that, and I enjoy my food. So I like
I'm going the other way. When my testosterone level stopped from I've been in martial arts too long, and I had catastrophic damage to my gonads over the course of the years, and I wasn't aware of that.
Quit getting kicked in your nuts, man.
That's it, brother. No joke. And the doctor said that what the damage done to my testicles broke the connection between the pituitary gland and my testicles. So my pituitary gland says to my testicles, "Make testosterone." My testicles are going, yeah, Louie, I forgot to breathe again today, Louie.
Don't feel bad, Leo, because my hormones are on the road.
I want Mike.
So hold on. Let me finish.
Let him finish. Let him finish.
Let me
finish.
finish.
He's on a roll.
I'm ovulating right now, so I'm
Right,
like,
let me finish.
do it.
So my body stopped producing testosterone almost exclusively. You're supposed to have like between 700 and 1,000 parts per million testosterone in the human body. If that's Jeff, hi Jeff. I'm live on the air. I'm going to give you back to Mom. Have a nice day. I'll call you back later. All right, here you go. So, sorry, I didn't answer the phone, but my mom picked it up. So now she's coming to give me my brother on the phone. Talk to Jeff. Go back in there and talk to Jeff. So my body stopped producing testosterone. When I got tested, I had 7%. Instead of 700 to 1,000 parts per million, I had 7. That's what women have normally. So I have to take shots. Well, before I was able to get my insurance company, that I'm on medical from the government now, they covered it. Prior to that, I wasn't, and they wouldn't cover the testosterone, which costs like $170 a shot. Yeah. Through my medical, it cost me $65 for 6 shots. That's with the medical. So I pay $65 every time I go and pick up 6 shots, and I take 1 every 2 weeks. Okay, so I ballooned up to 486 pounds. Okay, because
thing about
that joke about the eunuch and how when you chop off a man's balls, the eunuch blows up, that's real. My body was dying and killing itself. And finally, my doctor had to write a letter that said, if he does not get testosterone, he is going to die of something because he's getting fatter and fatter and he can't lose weight. No matter what I did, my body would just absorb every ounce of anything it could pack on his fat.
That's the same way with birth control with women. Like in certain birth control, like that's why I'm not on it. I'm au naturel because I can't. I either gain weight or I lose weight or it's blood clots or all these side effects. And it's not.
Hold on. There's something about the reason that happens because of the hormone levels, because it affects your hormone levels. All those pills fuck up your hormones, and the hormones are there to be in a certain state.
Wait, really quick, Mike, really quick. I'm happy to say, and then we'll continue. I'll let you talk. I wanted to say that I'm happy to say that I am now taking my testosterone shot, and I am now at 335 pounds.
That's
I was
awesome.
At 486 pounds. I'm at 335 pounds today. And I'm still losing the weight because I have the gumption to want to do stuff. Grandpa doesn't need a nap.
Well, Grandpa doesn't need a nap. I take a nap every afternoon, so fuck you.
I have
my shot today. I will do my shot.
Well, I had an uncle. I call him my uncle. He's Jewish. He's got nothing to do with me in family wise, but he was one of my dad's best friends, and he was there when I was born. So I called him Uncle Eddie's.
Right. I got an uncle Joe.
About 5 years ago, he had to run away from Mexico City to Panama because the feds were after him because he was selling testosterone. And this is a guy who told me about the internet beforehand. Whenever he was talking about me, about encyclopedias on CDs, whenever he told me about Khan Academy for my kids for educational purposes. First of all, KHAN Academy. Get into that if you want a basic education. That site, it was developed by an MIT PhD. The guy wanted to be able to teach his own kids. So your basic American standard learning levels, it's all there in the classes. And I went through 7th grade through high school with to make sure that it was good enough for my kids. And it's an awesome fucking program. And I also went into some of their university programs because I wanted to learn something as well. But that's just sometimes. But their explanations are great and everything. So anyway, Eddie's told me about that, and it's a fantastic thing. But one of the things that I couldn't talk to him for about 2 or 3 years because he was hiding out in Panama. Because for years he was selling testosterone. Because obviously he's my dad's age, so he's older than I am. And so he got into the problems that I'm getting into much earlier and found his own solutions because this guy knows more about shit than I do, really, to be honest with you. And so anything he generally says, I kind of go after because he's usually right. And he was selling testosterone a long fucking time ago, but people, they don't want that because they want us. That's why they're putting estrogen into the water. That's why they're fucking.
But dude, estrogen is my issue right now.
There was an experiment.
Anybody feel better? I have the biggest balls in the group, and they're on my chest.
Right.
So,
Well, it's different. The chemistry is different for women.
I know.
Right.
Those are not balls.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. What Mike was
Those
saying.
are
The truth is, women have too much estrogen now because you're getting bombarded with the same estrogen. So your issue is over estrogen, and because they're putting it out there for us men to get it to make us more docile. And to not make us,
Right.
to try and, because the more estrogen we have, the less testosterone we'll have.
Imbalance as well.
Right.
Yes.
Wow.
Now that I'm hormonal
Yeah.
and I'm like,
I believe that
Right.
because
I'm having these issues.
some men are really act like women sometimes. Their mood swings. They have I call them man periods. Yeah.
Yes.
And I know one specifically. He has man periods a lot.
When they need a
But
man for it.
and even in
You know,
toy
yeah.
milk,
They need a
they tell
sanitary napkin. It's a male fix. Wait,
I just gotta
check
say,
this out, guys.
male sanitary napkin.
we thought, just coming into our own and getting our, like in teenage years were difficult. Wait till I get to be 40 and a woman. Jesus fucking Christ.
All right, so
I thought I'd be 30 and
Kiss my
driving.
ass. It's just a bitch. I can't even play any fucking sports anymore. I mean, give me it. You're still young, bitch. I mean, fucking deal with it. You got 10 more years before shit starts fucking
I'm
falling apart.
definitely young, and yet my hormones are acting like I'm some sort of 80-year-old or something.
Don't feel bad, Norma. I feel like I'm about
where can they
60.
find you, bro? Where can they find you online? Hold on. We're getting ready to wrap this up. It was a great fucking interview, great podcast interview. We're gonna have people on that we bring on that show their stuff, their showcase new and upcoming talent. But Mike, where can they find you, bro?
I'm on Pena Perspective on YouTube, Pena Perspective on Rumble. I'm on Pena Perspective on BitChute, and I think I'm on Minds as well. I'm on Facebook. I'm not telling you because that's for people that I really know. And my email, penaperspective@protonmail.com. Contact me. Give me ideas. We'll shoot the shit. We'll figure it out. Thank you very much.
Thank you, dude.
Leo.
Okay, you can't see the name now. I don't know if you can, but it does. I was putting a Leo at Orion Rising on, so you can, when you guys see the names on there, I put that on there on purpose. So you can catch me on at Orion Rising on Facebook, Orion Rising on YouTube. You can like the channels and subscribe to them, and make sure you hit the bell on both, and that way you know when I go live. I do my show on Friday nights at 4 p.m. West Coast American time. I will be on this Friday at 4 p.m. on Orion Rising on Facebook and on YouTube. If you listen to an MP3 file podcast, anywhere on the planet that you listen to an MP3 file podcast, I should be on that channel. If I'm not, and you caught me somewhere else and you have a favorite or an app that you have, you can go to podbean.com/Orion Rising. Find my show there on Podbean. That's an MP3 file. The RSS number is there for you to click on and copy and paste. If you click on that and go to your app controller or makers of the app will accept that. There's a place for you to punch that in because they want you to stay on their app and not go somewhere else to watch anyone else's show. So they'll allow my app, and that RSS number will, every time I post my show, it'll automatically update on whatever you listen to. And I'm already listened to in 61 countries around the world. So I'm on apps I've never even heard of before. I have no idea how they got there. People put them there, and that's why they're going out on those apps. So you can get me anywhere. Most of the people who listen to me on the computer. They go to Apple Podcast and Anchor FM. I have a really big following on those, for some reason, those platforms. But I'm everywhere. Okay. So I also wrote 3 books. Let me show you. You guys can, if you want, you can. We saw this one earlier. All right. Prepping/surviving for beginners. Right, and then you have Survival for Beginners. Rising. That's the name of my Rising. Also the name of my podcast. Awesome. And then I have How to Get Out of Debt. This is the surviving in the United States, surviving in the 21st century. Because in here I explained to you, we kind of touched on this earlier about monetary things in America. There's people that are living in America think they're poor, but the truth is you're just America poor. Because your $50 that you have in your pocket right now is worth, to other countries, is worth like $500,000 in some countries. It's worth $50,000 in some countries of their money. So we think that we're poor in America because we're paying American prices for things. There was a guy really quickly who was telling his story about his life where he was a corn farmer and he had put 6 people, he was taking care of 8 employees, 6 people, his whole family and kids, and putting them through college. And he's going to double the size of his business next year. And he was so happy. And they asked him, how much money did he make for the entire year? And he said, $50 American. But where he was on the earth.
Right, Ariel, where you at? Ariel, where can people find you? Do you want people to fucking know where you're at or what? Or are you just jumping on the podcast?
You can find me here kicking ass and taking names. My resume ain't as impressive as yours.
Where's that fucking website, dude? Like,
but you know what, Ariel, I started out just like you. I started out just like Mike. When I first started, all I had was, you guys can see me on YouTube. And then it was, when I added Facebook. So in the beginning, I was just hosting someone else's show. And I didn't have anything. Where can you be found? Nowhere. I'm just Leo. And
you got a wrestling group on Facebook, don't you?
Yeah, I have Facebook.
There you go.
Wrestling group. Yeah. The wrestling group. What's the name of the wrestling group?
When wrestling was good, I have like 700 members so far.
There you go.
There you go. When wrestling was
good. That's a start. That's
shout that shit out.
That's
when
right.
Wrestling was good on Facebook. There you go.
I'm everywhere.
All right.
That's how you started. Start out small.
So you can find me at Mystic Norm.
Hold on.
Norms being NORMZ, not norms as in norms like the norms.
What do you do? What do you have to offer?
So, I am a civil celebrant. If you need a celebration of any kind, I will specifically write it for you. I will fucking marry you.
Marriage with nobody knowing.
However, are you looking for a ceremony? I write them. I also utilize just my basic.
I
can do so many things
legally.
I'm down for like moon ceremonies. I'm down for fucking like you want to be baptized simply because you just want to be rebirthed and you're not looking for religion. Baby, I will fucking baptize you. I'm right here for any spiritual.
I will fucking baptize you.
I'm not here for that.
You want to get out of this?
Many health and wellness products.
Fix your soul.
You want to get your ass baptized?
If you want me, it's Aaron Fowler. Hold on. www.psychicshaman333.com. I'm psychic. I am a fucking psychic, and I'm very good at what I do. And I'm going to brag about it because, I fucking spent a lot of years doing
Aaron's good. He's on point.
Every one of these people on this panel are worth bringing up.
Yes.
So I love you all, and thank God for another episode number 7.
This was a good
one.
We're getting into 2.5 hours.
Like we're close to number 8.
Leo, I think that's getting close to what your limits are, right? 3.5 hours, I think, is your limit.
I'm already over here doing the
we're only at 226 right now.
We're at 226. I can manage until 3. After that, I'm like, okay, guys, I'm gonna have to get up, move around. I got to get out of here.
But check it out. The Skull Island PirateCast is on. It's got a RSS feed, so go look up on Anchor or Spreaker. No, probably not Spreaker, but Anchor for sure. Find the RSS feed in Apple, whatever. Leave a good review. I mean, we're not making money right now. We will be, but we're not right now. At least leave us a good review to bring us up in that podcast. Because
and share.
Good for you.
But
comments,
and fucking yes, please.
On Facebook,
and I love you all. Thank you all for another great podcast. Who's got if something to say it now.
I love you.
Thank you very much, everybody. Peace, love, and beauty.
Yes, I do love.
Share this out.
Much love to all of you.
Strawberry field forever.
Strawberry field dreams.